everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Anastasia scouting report entitled What If I Told You I'm Back, okay? And so I'll get to the title a little bit later, and as always, I'm going to timestamp these so you can go to sections that are pertinent to you, and then for the visual viewers, I will have overlays of like players or stats or just anything that I need to put in here. So, that's just something there, and then if you're listening, then you can find all of my social links and everything in the description of these and the timestamps and all that. Okay, I got a graphic made, shout out to my mutual on Twitter. Ball and hoop for this. Okay, I'll put that on the screen because I'm very appreciative for that. It looks awesome. Okay, so I wanted to take a second for that. Okay, let's get started for this week. So talking about UConn first, right? So their last game that they played, this was a game they played against Villanova. I'll put the stats up on the screen for both teams and some of the advanced stats. I'll try to read some of them at least. So for the starters, AZ Fudge, she played 28 minutes, 14 points, 6 of 14 shooting, 2 of 7 from the 3. No free throws. She had 1 rebound, 2 assists, no turnovers, 2 steals, and no blocks. So knocking on the door 50%, I was glad that she got more touches because that's been a consistent complaint I have in all my reviews. If you guys watch those, that, for somebody the caliber of player that she is, there's no reason why she shouldn't be having like 15 field goal attempted. So I was happy about that. I was happy about that for sure. Okay. And, still some opportunities in the third quarter that I would have liked to see as well. One of my mutuals on Twitter was posting like AZ being open on an inbound, Sarah even pointing to her, and AZ not getting the ball. So still work to do in regards to that. But, I thought she was decent in this game, for sure. And then what she's going to give you on defense as well. I think she hit a floater in this game as well. The 3-ball, like, I just really enjoy watching her play, okay? Next up, we got Sarah Strong. So she played 28 minutes. She had 24 points, 10 of 17 shooting, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. She had 3 of 3 free throws, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 steals, and 5 blocks. Sarah is just super consistent. You know what you're going to get from her on the offensive end, that little spin move that she has and just being able to finish at the rim. Like, they can't guard her for real. They can guard her for real. And then that mid-range, which I love whenever she taps into that. The 3-ball as well. She just has so many cool things that she can do as well and just makes it look so easy. And then defensively, when you have 3 steals and 5 blocks, I mean, Sarah Strong, just best sophomore in the country. So fantastic, as always, okay? Sarah Williams, 15 minutes played, 7 points, 3 of 4 shooting, no threes, 1 of 1 free throws. She had 5 rebounds, no assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and she did have 1 block in this game. So overall, I thought she was decent, okay? I would like to see more with the scoring and everything, and, I have my gripes, but, I would just want to see more, I guess. And then we go into Ashton Shade, 29 minutes played, 2 points, 1 of 6 shooting, okay? 0-2 from the 3-point line. She had no free throws, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and no block. Ashton Shade just continuously does not move me, okay? Now we go on to KK Arnold in this game. So she played 22 minutes, 13 points, 5 of 6 shooting, 1 of 2 for the 3, 2 of 3 free throws, no rebounds, 7 assists. She had 1 turnover, 4 steals, and no blocks. So love to see the assist to turnover ratio. I thought that this was a better balance for KK of looking for her shot and getting others involved at the same time, because I've said that she's just so focused on scoring at times, and it's like she doesn't get people involved at the same time, kind of how like Paige does, for example. So I thought that it was a good balance for sure, and her defense, you understand what she's going to bring. A moment or two that frustrates me, that's just the KK Arnold experience, but like I said, I think she has been improving, okay? Still room to grow, but a lot better than how she started the season. I already talked about AZ. I'll talk about Blanca off the bench and K9 because those are the ones who, give you the most production. Blanca, 20 minutes played. She had 13 points, 5 of 9 shooting, 1 of 2 from the 3, 2 of 2 free throws. She had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 2 steal, and no block. So overall, she was good in the game. Blanca can score in a variety of ways, truly fearless, and her defense is really good. There's just times where she gets careless with turnovers and just some bad plays and stuff like that, but she generally does more good than bad, okay? So I will definitely say that. And talking about K9, 20 minutes played, 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, 2 of 3 free throws. She had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnover. I don't love that, okay? And there was this one play where AZ got the steal, she got it to K9, and then K9 tried to pass it. They saw that, jumped the passing lane, and then that was a turnover. So I wish she would have just taken that 3. She did have 2 steals and no blocks. Overall, I see some things that I like from K9, and I see some things that I don't like from K9. I don't know. She's just been kind of streaky, And so hopefully we can find some more of that consistency. I'll put the advanced stats on the screen, so like the field goals, the threes, all that, so you guys can kind of see how that tracks and all that other stuff, okay? So my overall thoughts with UConn on this rate is that I wasn't pleased with the Seton Hall game, St. John's. That one really irritated me, and Creighton. I just wasn't pleased with those games at all, okay? I feel like last game was a step in the right direction because AZ was getting more touches, and like I've said before, you can get AZ and Sarah involved at the same time and getting them both their touches. I thought that it was just more of a balanced offense overall. Things looked more opened up. It was better passing of the basketball, okay, making that extra pass. So I thought it looked better offensively than it has. That third quarter, it was like regressing into some of the bad habits of past, but I thought offensively It was a step in the right direction. I thought the defense was good. You know, there's been some moments that kind of frustrate me and everything. We should take care of the basketball more and everything. Post-entry passes are things that we can improve on. Just some little things that I feel like the team can improve on as a whole. But last game, I think it's one of the better games we played, at least offensively for sure. And so we have Notre Dame coming up next. We should take care of them, okay? Because if we lose to, I have friends who are homosexual, Cassandra Prosper and Vanessa De Jesus, I will have a problem with that. We should control it. Maybe it'll be a closer one than we would like and everything, but it should be fine. I don't know. I've watched Notre Dame this year. They're not very good, as I talked about in my first episode, okay? My friend said that Notre Dame zone is going to be a problem, which I would agree with. Every single time that a team plays zone against us, it's like we forget how to play. You know, if you watch that Michigan game, that zone had us in a blender. And just making some mistakes, okay? So that's kind of how I see it. At this rate for UConn, okay? Something interesting to say is that per ESPN analyst Rebecca Lobo, UConn and LSU will square off next season in Nashville with a matchup set to air on ESPN. Wish we could have got it this year, because I wanted to see that Flau'jae and AZ guard matchup. That would have been fun, but I'll take it. So I will be seated for that next year, okay? And then for some other stuff to talk about, I did want to talk about Texas and LSU. So I really wanted to do a full breakdown of this one. Okay. So stat lines for Texas: Justice Carlton, 19 minutes played, 7 points, 3 of 3 shooting. She had no threes, 1 of 2 free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, no turnover, no steal, no block. She got in foul trouble in this game, which certainly didn't help, just committing some dumb fouls. So she had to sit a fair amount of the game. Felt she should have played more in the fourth quarter. I'm not big on her, as I've kind of stated before, but she can be positive, especially with Leah Crump out. And then we see Bria Cunningham. So she played 14 minutes. She had no points, 0-4 from the field. So just a tough shooting day for her. 0-0 from the three. She had no free throws, 1 rebound, no assist, no turnover, and she had 1 steal and 3 blocks. So yeah, just tough offensively for her. Still putting some stuff together on defense, what I appreciate, but I think, didn't help, obviously. We look at Madison Booker. She played 31 minutes, 24 points, 10 of 16 shooting, 2-4 from the three, 2 of 3 free throws. She had 7 rebounds, no assists, 6 turnovers, which I cannot praise that. You got to take better care of the basketball. Some was pressure and some was just really careless by her. And she had 2 steals and 1 block. The whole thing with Madison Booker is I was expecting a choke job. If you've seen some of Madison Booker's big games in the past, you know that she tends to choke in matchups like these. So I was kind of expecting that. However, she didn't really. I think there was kind of like moments where she was just taking some bad shots and everything. I think it was the second half of this game, but she got it together. And she put on the board what she was supposed to offensively. Defensively, she was kind of getting beat in this game, no shade. And when you have 6 turnovers, so she helped and then she hurt another way. So kind of feeling split, but she put the points up on the board that, she was supposed to. So that's what I will say about Madison Booker in this game. Okay. And so now we get to the point where we talk about Jordan Lee. So she played 40 minutes, had 12 points, 3 of 11 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3, 4 or 5 free throws. She had no rebound, no assist, 2 turnover, 2 steals, and 1 block, okay? Tough shooting day again for Jordan Lee. Not really much to say, okay? We look at Roy Harmon. 28 minutes played. She had 2 points, 1 of 7 shooting, no threes, no free throws, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block. So it was just a really tough shooting game for Rudy Harmon. And I was saying this in some of her recent games, how her jumpers have kind of just been like a day late and $1 short. And so that was something that I already saw. And so it kind of came to fruition in this game and everything, put in some pressure, obviously. So she wasn't able to get to the sets that she wanted to get to necessarily in this game because of LSU's defense. So, and then him benching her in the fourth quarter, I did not agree with. And he was like, oh, we looked better, right? No, I'm sorry. Like, I get she made some mistakes, had a few turnovers, but Rory, she was a difference maker in a game like UCLA when she had 26 points and, was really able to control that game in the fourth and hit some crucial shots in that game as well, also in the South Carolina game. So I just don't agree with benching her in the fourth quarter, okay? And then, I'll put the bench. Like, the whole thing will be on the screen. The only one I want to talk about from the bench, really, is Oldacre. 26 minutes, 16 points, 6-9 shooting, no threes, 4 6 free throws. She had 16 rebounds in this game, okay? She had 1 assist, 5 turnovers. I cannot praise that, okay? You have to take care of the ball, as I said. 1 steal, and she did have 3 blocks, though. So, yeah, Oldacre, I really do like her as a player, okay, for sure. The turnovers, I can't praise that, but yeah. And then the bench, there's not really much of note besides Oldacre, in my opinion. LSU stat line, Grace Knox, 20 minutes played, 4 points, 2 of 5 shooting, no threes, 0-2 from the free throw line, which is ridiculous. Okay, 7 rebound, no assist, no turnover, no steal, and no block. So she had some good moments in this game. She scored twice back-to-back, and she had this one where she poked it loose for the steal. I think they scored off of that, so she had some good moments in this game. And then Joyner, 32 minutes played, 6 points, 3 of 8 shooting, no threes, no free throws. She had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, no turnover, no steal, and no block. Okay, so you would like to see more for the time, I suppose. Richard, 25 minutes, 10 points, 2 of 7 shooting, good God. 0-4 from the three-point line, 6 of 6 free throws. She had 1 rebound, 2 assists, 4 turnovers, 1 steal, and no block. So 2 of 7 from the field. I mean, that's just tough. That's just tough, right? Okay, so you got to say those things, right? We go to Michaela Williams, and I should have started off with her first. I buried the lead. Sorry, I apologize for that. But she played 38 minutes. She had 20 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, 4 of 6 free throws. She had 7 rebounds, okay, 4 assists, 2 turnover, 5 steals, okay, and no blocks. Difference maker for this game. You know, in my preview, I was kind of saying that their best hope was to shoot better from 3 or just kind of hope that their guards get hot, which Michaela Williams did. Okay, so huge difference maker for this game. Obviously, hitting that 3 at the end to kind of seal it, and just, yeah, she was their main source of offense in this game. So she delivered, and then on the defensive end, when you have 5 steals and being disruptive, she just really completed it. And yeah, this was kind of her get back for the Kentucky game, which she celebrated too early. So she did what she needed to do in this game for sure. Flage was disappointing. 28 minutes played, she had 10 points, 4 of 14 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3, 1 of 1 free throw. She had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnovers, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. Like, and this is why I was saying whenever it was that game against Georgia, I'm like, Flage was talking all of this, talking about all the doubters this and all that. And I said, you have to save that for Texas. And she did not deliver for Texas, okay? So, yeah, it was just a rough shooting day for Flage, okay? And she keeps disappearing in the big mashups. So that frustrates me. I will say it was a better game for her in the sense of usually when her shot doesn't fall, she kind of just disappears for the game. It kind of like gets to her mentally. I think in this thing, she did a better job of getting some assists, getting some rebounds for you, and finding other ways to contribute. So I'll give her that. I don't like 4 turnovers, okay? The bench, I'll talk about 2 players. So Zakiya Johnson, she played 22 minutes, 10 points, 5 of 7 shooting, no threes, no free throws. She had 5 rebounds, no assists, no turnover, no steal, and no block. So doing some good stuff for them, playing our role for sure. And Malaysia, 24 minutes, 10 points, 3 of 13 shooting, which is dreadful. Okay, 0-2 from the 3, 4 of 4 free throws, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 4 turnovers. Good God. She had 3 steals and no blocks. So not a great shooting day for Malaysia either. It's just she can do some insane stuff, but the simple stuff, it's just the fundamentals. That's my problem with Malaysia at this rate. Okay. So now we get on to my overall thoughts for this game, okay? So this circles back around to the podcast title, which I called What If I Told You I'm Back, okay? So I called it that because, number one, the Taylor Swift song, The Alchemy, has been in my head. I watched the documentary for her Eras tour and everything. And so, I don't know, that just really stuck in my head for like the last week. And I thought that this was perfect for LSU because, you know, they were 0-2 in conference play. They win the last game against Georgia, and then this was a huge win for them. Okay, so, you know, I thought it was perfect for the title. Okay, and LSU really proved a lot of things that they needed to prove with this game. I had a lot of critiques for them, you know, with the Kentucky game and everything, and with what happened at Vanderbilt. But they proved to me that they can win ugly. Okay, whenever the game isn't necessarily going your way and you're not front running, and that was their problem, was that they were front runners, okay? And when you get in a situation where maybe you front run for the portion of the game and then you get to the end and it's really close, you know, how can you pull through? So they showed me that they can win ugly, okay? They stepped up in the defense, which I had no faith in. I told you guys that last week, okay? So just making everything difficult, making them have to take tough shots, like I said, Rory wasn't able to get to the offensive sets that she really wanted to get to in this game as well, and just flying around, putting a hand up, you know, knocking the ball loose, diving for loose balls as well. So I thought that they made them play ugly, and the defense really stepped up, okay? So I was impressed by that. And like I said guard play would be a factor in some fashion. Michaela Williams showed up, okay? I thought that LSU showed grit. They showed discipline, which is what I was looking for, okay? They just, you know, had sloppy moments and everything the past game, so they did what they needed to do. I thought LSU kind of just went in like, this is business with everything that's happened. I thought Texas looked a mess. You know, I have the advanced stats in front of me. So reading it for both teams, Texas 25 of 57 from the field, 44%. From the three-point line, 4 of 12, so they shot better than LSU from 3. 33%, 11 of 18 free throws. You missed 7 free throws. I mean, that's crucial, right? 61%. They had 35 total rebounds, okay? 11 offensive rebounds, 24 defensive rebounds. 9 assists. You had 7 steals, 9 blocks, 17 turnovers. Okay, that really killed them. 14 points off turnovers. You had 9 fast break or transition points. You had 34 points in the paint, 17 fouls, no techs. Largest lead was 4. Percent led was 18. Okay. And then for LSU, 26 of 67 from the field, 39%, 3 of 13 from 3, 23%. Okay. From the free throw line, 15 of 19, which is going to be 79%. 44 total rebounds in this game. So they out rebounded, 19 offensive, 25 defensive. He had 12 assists, 11 steals, 2 blocks, 16 total turnovers, which is still too many. And you had 11 points off turnovers, 14 fast break points, 32 points in the paint, 15 fouls, no techs. Largest lead was 13, and percent led was 6-7. Okay. And so you see all those things, and this game did not go how I thought it was going to go. I thought this was going to be a shootout more so, if anything, where Texas was going to have them in a blender with their defensive pressure, but this was a really, this was like a slog kind of game, a defensive slog in a sense, you kind of put it, and this was an ugly game straight up, but LSU did it, And so I think that Texas let LSU pressure bother them. They made too many mistakes. Some of them were unforced errors, and, some of them were just LSU having that defensive pressure. I forgot to mention Madison Booker got in foul trouble in this game, which certainly doesn't help. And yeah, now I feel like Texas is essentially in LSU's position, okay, especially with South Carolina, which I will talk about. But Texas is a front-running team at this rate. These last 2 games have not looked as good as I hoped, so I think that those are some problems. Now we're talking about the South Carolina game for Texas, okay. Justice Carlton, 30 minutes played, 4 points, 1 of 5 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, 2 of 2 free throws. She had 7 rebounds, no assists, 5 turnovers, good God, 2 steals, no blocks, so not great for her, okay. Bree Cunningham, 19 minutes played, 6 points, 3 of 5 from the field, no threes, no free throws, 6 rebound, no assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and 1 block, okay? So you would like to see a little bit more for the time, sure, but I thought South Carolina was playing good defense in the post, so that's probably why she didn't have more touches. Madison Booker, 40 minutes played, 24 points, 11 of 25 shooting, which isn't great. 1 of 5 from the 3, 1 of 1 free throw. She had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnover, 2 steal, and no blocks. So yeah, not efficient from the field for Madison Booker, for sure, okay? Like I was kind of saying about LSU, she put the points on the board and was leading in scoring, which is what she's supposed to do. So I feel kind of twofold about Madison Booker. I think that she takes some really dumb shots sometimes as well, okay? But maybe in a sense, she's kind of starting to get that monkey off of her back in terms of choking in big matchups. Because I mentioned this in my last podcast, but the SEC championship game, this last year and everything, Madison Booker shot 3 of 19. So it's things like that when I talk about her choking in big matchups, but she put points on the board. Defense could still improve, I suppose. Lee, 30 minutes played, 10 points, 3 of 6 shooting, and she had no threes in this game, which is really odd. 4 free throws. She had 4 rebound, 1 assist, 2 turnover, 1 steal, and no block. She did foul out of this game in the 4th, which didn't help. I would expect her to be more involved offensively in the game, so I was really surprised by that. And I thought this was a bounce back game for Roy Harmon. 38 minutes played. She had 16 points, 6 of 12 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, 4 free throws. She had 5 rebound, 5 assists, 3 turnover, 3 steal, and no blocks. Okay, so I thought it was a bounce back for sure. And I will say that the 3 turnover, I don't love those things. I don't love those things. Defensively, she was trying. There were some times where it was good, and there were some times where she was going to beat. You kind of saw that matchup with her and Raven throughout the game. But obviously, I would say she's more of a positive than negative in this game. Okay, the bench, you didn't really get much from Oldacre, so she had 21 minutes played, 3 points, 1 of 4 shooting, no threes, 1 of 2 free throws, 2 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, no steal, and 1 block. Okay, so not her best showing for sure. And then everyone else on the bench, there was basically no production, so not much to talk about. South Carolina, Joyce Edwards, so she played 38 minutes. She had 14 points, 3 of 11 shooting, no threes, 8 of 9 free throws, 8 rebound, no assists, 6 turnovers. I don't like that, okay? She had 3 steals and 2 blocks, though. So, Joyce, offensively, it just wasn't her night. Sometimes she just throws stuff up for sure and everything. I'm sure that they had some good defensive moments on her, too, obviously. But, yeah, it just wasn't her night. It wasn't her night for sure. Offensively, defensively, when you have 3 steals and 2 blocks, she was definitely being disruptive and trying to find a way to make an impact. 6 turnovers is not great, but it just was not Joyce's finest hour. But she still somehow managed to scrounge up 14 points, okay? Medina Okot, 25 minutes played, 10 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 1 of 1 from the 3, 1 of 2 free throws. She had 5 rebounds in this game, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. And she did have 2 steals and no blocks. So I thought that she was giving you some good stuff. She was playing her role. I don't know why they left her wide open for that 3. Okay, like that was just disrespectful, and she made them pay. We got Demon Tessa Johnson. Y'all know I'm fond of her. 28 minutes played, 13 points, 4 of 5 shooting, 3 of 4 from the 3, 2 of 4 free throws. She had 2 rebounds, no assists, 4 turnovers. She did have 1 steal and no blocks though. Okay, so I will give her that. I thought defensively better than the last time they played Texas, so I'll do that. And when you're 4 or 5 from the field and 3 or 4 from the 3, and she was hitting some deep threes too, so I like her game. You know, she did her part for sure. Okay, the 3-point threat for South Carolina. Latson is back. Okay. 36 minutes played. She had 12 points, 5 of 9 shooting, 0-3 from the 3, 2 of 4 free throws. She had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, and no blocks. Okay, so Latson's still kind of trying to, I'm sure, feel her way in the offense. I think this is only her second or third game back and everything because she was out for a while. So there's that. But she took shots when she needed to. For the most part, didn't try to do too much. She probably took a dumb shot or two in this game. I'd be forgetting stuff, but she did what she needed to do. I thought that her off-ball defense, like I've said before, is good, and just being able to be disruptive and capitalize off of that at the other end. So I like those things. And I said before, but I do like her facilitating. So she did some nice facilitating too. So I thought Latson didn't try to do too much. I thought she played a role. Raven Johnson, 32 minutes played, 10 points, 4 of 10 shooting, no threes, 2 of 2 free throws. She had 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, no steals, but she did have 1 block. Okay, y'all know how I feel about Raven Johnson at this rate, right? I think objectively in this game, she did what was needed. You know, she made the shots when she needed to, especially that one that she hit at the end to ultimately seal the game, being able to facilitate and everything, having a good assist, a turnover ratio as well, having some good defense. So you kind of know what you're getting from her at this rate. She did her role. There's not really much to talk about in the bench. I will shout out Tack, though, because I think Bria Cunningham accidentally tripped her or something, and then she got the block on her, I believe, or a steal or something like that, and she was hyped. So, they play with hate. They play with hate. So there's that. And then McKeer, 3 of 7 from the field, 8 points, 13 minutes, no threes made in this game, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, no assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and no blocks. Okay, so she had some good moments in this game, some defense as well. McDaniel doesn't move me, so that's some thoughts on the bench. And then the scoring by quarter and some of the advanced stats I'll put on the screen so you can see who was leading points, rebounds, and assists. And so we can also talk about from the field how these teams shot. Okay, so Texas was 26 of 60 from the field, 43%, 1 of 9 from the 3, good God, 11%, 12 of 13 free throws, and they had 92%, 34 rebounds, 14 offensive, 20 defensive, 9 assists, 8 steals, 2 blocks, 22 turnovers in this game is ridiculous, okay? 15 points off turnovers, 4 fast break or transition points. You got 26 points in the paint. You got 22 fouls, no techs. Largest lead was 9, and percent led was 55%, okay? South Carolina, 23 of 52 from the field, 44%, 4 of 11 from 3, 36%, 18 of 26 from the free throw line, 69%, 29 total rebounds. You have 10 offensive rebounds and 19 defensive rebounds, 10 assists, 9 steals, 4 blocks, 20 total turnovers in this game. And then you had 23 points off turnovers, 15 fast break or transition points. You had 28 points in the paint, 16 fouls, no techs. Largest lead was 5%, led was 36, okay? And so, yeah, this kind of gets into my thoughts on the Texas and South Carolina game, the LSU game, what does Texas need to go do moving forward, all the other things. Okay, so some thoughts on the Texas and South Carolina game. This was an ugly game, okay? And when I posted my review, people were telling me, oh, this wasn't ugly. This was just great defense being played. I'm sorry. When one team has 22 turnovers and the other team has 20 turnovers and the way that they shot from the field and everything, it's an ugly game. It's an ugly game. You know, I like defense. I do. I also like to see people score, you know, and it was just a slog. It was just a slog to watch, honestly. And I knew that this was going to be ugly because they played each other, 6 times in the past year or two. So they're very familiar with each other at this point, and they know what to do. They know how to guard each other, and they're going to make each other play ugly, okay? So I already knew this coming in. And it was an ugly game to watch for sure. You know, I think South Carolina shot better from the 3-point line. They killed Texas in transition. Texas needs to get better on their transition defense because they low-key been getting cooked on that this season. And Vic's rotations and his adjustments were awful in this game for sure. And I think that South Carolina played with some grit and hate in a complimentary way in this game, okay? They wanted it more to stay more disciplined, even whenever Texas had the lead and everything, being able to force Texas into that many turnovers, okay? And some were unforced errors as well. And they just made the shots when they needed to. That fourth quarter, they righted the ship. It was about business for them. And ultimately, they got it done, you know? So that's kind of some of my takeaways. Texas needs to get it together there. You know, I think with both of these two games, the other teams wanted it more. Texas has no number 2 scoring option right now, which is not good. You know, I heard that Aaliyah Crump might be out for the season, but apparently Vic's telling them, oh, go to the game. You know, you're going to see what you need to see. So if she's back, that will help them. If she's out, then that's really going to be bad because Jordan Lee's your 3-point threat. The last few games have not been great from her. I don't know why she didn't get more involved offensively in this past game against South Carolina for sure. But you really need some more dynamic threats for sure. And now Texas, like I said, in LSU position 0-2 in the last 2 SEC games. And I feel like it was a sloppy performance by Texas. They can't win ugly. They front running, and that they're the Minnesota Lynx of women's college basketball. What I mean by that basically is that, you know, they are able to kind of rise above their roster, right? If you look at the Minnesota Lynx roster on paper, you wouldn't be that moved, right? But the way that they play is really complimentary just in terms of making that extra pass and everything and having a really good offensive system run, building the system off for the defense, having your 1-star, Fee, Madison Booker, and complementary pieces. So you see how it's really a 1-for-1 comparison at that rate. So that's kind of why I feel like they're the Lynx of women's college basketball. And so I think South Carolina can either make an Elite Eight or a Final Four. And the only reason why they wouldn't make it to a Final Four is because of the injuries that they're dealing with and everything. So that's something to note. But I thought that South Carolina locked in, obviously. Texas has to lock in. Like I said, they have to play better because that was very shameful. And then UCLA and Nebraska, I'll just put the stats on the screen, y'all. I'll just put the stats on the screen. So overall takeaways on this game is that Lauren Betts is really starting to feel it. Great defensive masterclass by her, offensively putting points on the board. I still think that she misses shots that she should definitely make, okay, for sure. And wanted to see that mid-range be more consistent, some threes and some other stuff. And I still have my qualms. I think for the most part, I have become, I've become fond of Lauren Betts in a sense, but still some improvement for the most part, but you know what you're going to get in that dominant post presence and rim protector. Ledger Walker, it was a decent game for her, okay, more of a complimentary piece. Neepkins, I think, is a really good player. She can score at all 3 levels. The on-ball defense needs some work, 100%, so I will say that. I like the facilitating. There are some times where she was wide open for threes where she should have taken them and she passed. So I do like Neepkins, though. Jaquez, y'all know she doesn't move me. And then Kiki Rice also doesn't move me. I mean, she was 4 of 10 in this last game. I just don't trust her when it matters. Sienna Betts off the bench was good, I felt. And so those are some of my thoughts there overall. I think that they have to limit the turnovers because they had some really bad unforced moments as well. Neepkins, best guard on the team, and Corey Close still can't coach. I'm excited to see whenever they play Michigan for sure. So I will say that too. Now we get on to Kentucky and Oklahoma. Okay, so this one, yeah, this was kind of an ugly game. Okay, shout out to Claire Strack for Kentucky. 36 minutes played, 18 points, 6 of 12 shooting, 0-3 from the 3, 6 of 8 free throws. She had 12 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnover, no steal, and she did have 3 blocks. Okay, so just hitting all types of shots in this game, right? Being able to finish at the rim. She has to stay out of foul trouble, though. She does, because the games I've been watching, she keeps getting into foul trouble. Okay, so that's really my only knock on her. But offensively, she can do some great stuff. I like her defense too, and hopefully she will be a Dow swing when it's time for her to go to the W. So obviously really positive, and then I'll shout out Tony Morgan, the starting lineup as well. 40 minutes played, 22 points, 8 of 19 shooting, not efficient. 2 of 4 from the 3, 4 of 5 free throws. She had 8 rebounds though, 4 assists, 5 turnovers. No. She did have 2 steals and 1 block though. So, you know, she's doing a great job for the most part at running this offense for them. So those are the ones who stood out to me most for Kentucky. For Oklahoma, obviously got to talk about City Norman. 40 minutes played, 18 points, 7 of 23 shooting. 1 of 8 from the 3, 3 of 3 free throws. She had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block. So yeah, they're going to pressure her a lot, obviously, because she's the best player on the team. So having to deal with that, they could do a better job setting some screens and being more of threats and relieving that pressure. Sure, you're going to get 19 points a game out of City Norman. You know what you're going to get. And so yeah, I think some of the shots that she takes, frankly, are bad. You know, I thought that they did a good job of using the length to contest the shots because they have a lot of tall players. So I thought that they did some good stuff. There was a point where City Norman was guarding Claire Strack. I believe Claire Strack is 6'5". Why are you guarding her? She's like 5'9". Okay, I get trying to take on the challenge, but yeah, I think obviously still room to grow offensively. I would like to see things be more efficient and everything. Only 1 turnover, which is good limiting it because the game before that, I believe she had 7. So still room to grow with that for sure. But y'all know that I do like City of Norman. Defense could still use some work. Reagan Beers, I will shout her out in this game as well. 23 minutes played, 14 points, 7 of 14 shooting, 0-2 from the 3, 0-1 free throws, 9 rebound, no assist, 4 turnover, no steal, and 3 blocks. She has to really get that outside shot together, okay? She hit a long 2 in this game, I'll give her that, but every time I see her hit that mid-range and that 3, it don't be going in. So working on that, staying out of foul trouble, because she picked up some really stupid fouls in this game, and when you get in foul trouble, it's not going to help your team. So yeah, I think the defense usually is good from her. Sometimes it depends on the matchup, because she had Lauren Best in hell. And then I'll put the advanced stats on the screen and everything, so y'all can kind of see everything. Some of the things that really stood out to me in this game was the fact that, you know, OU didn't have a whole lot of transition points, okay? And it had a lot of turnovers in this game when you're turning the basketball over 18 times, okay? So I was not pleased by that, only 2 transition points as well. And so they also fouled more, okay? And so, like I said in my inaugural episode, who is OU without transition? When you get limited in transition, you know, that's been hurting them a lot. I think their half-court offense needs some work. City and Norman need help in the backcourt. Zaya Van hasn't been getting the touches that she should in the last 2 games. I don't understand that in favor of Peyton Verhulst. That doesn't move me. So I will say that. I think Reagan Beers, like I said, good player. I have my problems. OU zone, they keep getting fried with their zone. They can run a decent zone, but when they hit threes on you and when they consistently get it into the post, then what are you going to do? Their man defense, they have to work on that. I don't think that they can win ugly. The only game that I could think of was NC State, and even then, that was more so of a shootout than anything. So they can't win ugly. I like Kentucky. I got to watch more to give you guys some detailed thoughts and everything. But yeah, it's kind of some of my thoughts on those games. I think OU got to tighten up because now they've lost their last 2. Okay. Now we talk about the preview for LSU and OU. So LSU is favored to win this game 69-31. And then you guys can see the leading scores and everything for both teams, okay? And so basically, I would give it to LSU. I feel like that last game against Texas, that was a big win for them. They needed that. OU was kind of on a downward trajectory. I'm hoping that they find it. It could be a close game for sure, but I would favor LSU right now in this matchup. I don't know. I just think that they have a little bit more talent, I guess I would say. But we'll see what happens. OU could definitely use a win. Now I'll give you guys my bonus game review. So I did want to talk about the TCU and Utah game that happened, okay? This happened, on the 3rd of this year, and I've been meaning to get to it, haven't had the time, and so I figured, you know what? Let me do it in this episode of my podcast, okay? So reading the stats. So for TCU, Marta Suarez, 41 minutes, 23 points, 8 of 21 from the field, 4-13 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 turnovers, okay, 2 steals and no blocks. I have mixed opinions. She hit some good shots in this game, but also, why are you attempting 13 threes? I don't know. I feel like that's way too many. Get in the post more, so that's 1. And then when you have 5 turnovers, and then in the overtime period, she really went cold. So, yeah, I don't know. For the most part, I like her as a player. I think she's dynamic offensively, and defensively, she can do some great things as well. So, yeah, but I don't know. I kind of feel split in the performance in this game when you have 5 turnovers. Silva, 24 minutes played, 10 points, 4 of 8 shooting, no threes, 2 of 2 free throws. She had 9 rebounds in this game, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, no steals, but she did have 2 blocks. So I thought she was doing some nice stuff defensively for sure. Then on to Donovan Herner. So she played 41 minutes, 11 points, 3 of 11 shooting is not great. 2 of 8 from the 3. She had 3 of 3 free throws, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steal, and no blocks, okay? Had a few good moments here, but I mean, 3 of 11 from the field is just not going to get it done. Okay, that's just objective. Olivia Miles, 42 minutes played, 31 points, 12 of 24 shooting, 3 of 12 from the 3, 4 of 6 free throws. You had 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and no blocks. So for the most part, she was good, and just being able to drive through, get some moments in transition, getting her assist up as well. Defense is still terrible. I thought she had one good moment when she took the charge, so I'll give her that, but I saw her get beat multiple times on defense, okay? From that 3-point line, it was food for her. It was food for her. And then that one moment, whenever she was mad, she didn't get the ball. I get wanting the ball, but, you know, that behavior, I just don't like it. I don't like it, okay? And then, sure, 37 minutes played, no points, 0-5 from the field and from the 3, no free throws, 1 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals, and no blocks, so it's just not good. The bench, you didn't really get anything. Basham, 7 minutes, no points, 0-2 from the field, 0-0 from the 3, no free throws, you had 2 rebounds, no assists, no turnover, no steal, and no block, okay? Veronica, 6 minutes, 2 points, 1-1 from the field, no threes, no free throws, no rebound, no assists, no turnover, no steal, no block. And then you had Big B, 27 minutes, no points, 0-3 from the field, 0-1 from the 3, no free throws, 1 rebound, 0 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals, and no blocks. So yeah, they didn't really get anything from the bench. And then reading everything for Utah, okay? So for the starters, Reese Ross, you know, she had some good stuff. 31 minutes played, 15 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 3 of 4 from the 3, 4 of 8 free throws. She had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnover, 1 steal, and no blocks. So she was hitting some big shots for them, so I'll give her credit there. Evans, 14 minutes, 6 points, 2 of 6 shooting, 2 of 2 from the 3. She had no free throws, 1 rebound, 5 assists in this game, okay? 1 turnover, no steal, and no block. So not the best. Snead, 34 minutes played, 6 points, 0-1 from the field, no 3, 6 of 10 from the free throw line, 5 rebound, 3 assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no block. And then White, 41 minutes played, 25 points, 9 of 17. Okay, seeing that happen. 4-6 from the 3, 3 of 3 free throws. You had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and 1 block. And then Maddie Wilk, I believe, 39 minutes played, 12 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 2 of 6 from the 3, no free throws, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 turnover, 3 steal, and no block. 6 turnovers, diabolical. And then the bench, they did get some good bench production. They got 20 points off the bench. With Evelina, 28 minutes, 10 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block. Samantha, 0 points. Avery, 3 points. Grace, 0 points. Brooke did have 18 minutes played, 10 points, 2 of 3 shooting, no 3, 6 of 8 free throws. Okay, you had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnover, no steal, and no block. Okay, now we take a look at the advanced metrics for this game. TCU from the field was 28 of 75. Okay, 37% dreadful. 9 of 39 from the 3. I don't know why you take so many. 23%. Okay. 12 of 15 free throws. Those free throws, I forgot that one that Olivia missed at the end that's going to come to haunt you. 39 total rebounds, okay? 13 offensive, 26 defensive, 15 assists, 11 steals, 2 blocks, 14 total turnovers, and you had 19 points off of turnovers, 2 fast break points. I mean, that's dreadful. 28 points in the paint, 24 fouls, okay? When you foul them, it's not going to help you. No text. Largely was 6 and percent led was 47. For Utah, 26 of 54 from the field, 48%, 13 of 23 from the three-point line, 57%, 22 of 33 from the free throw line. How do you miss 11 free throws? 6-7, we got the 6-7, 43 total rebounds in this game, so they out-rebounded 8 offensive and 35 defensive. You had 22 assists, okay, 5 steals, 2 blocks, 19 total turnovers, 17 points off turnovers, 13 fast breaker transition points, 22 points in the paint. You had 16 fouls, no text, largest lead was 10, and percent led was 38. And then scoring by quarter, so 22 to 21, 17 to 13, 11 to 18, 17 to 15, and this went to overtime, so 10 to 20, okay? Ultimately, Utah win 87 to 77, and the game leaders for points, rebounds, and assists are on the screen, so Olivia Miles, Marta Suarez, and Olivia Miles, okay? And then for Utah, White for the points, for the rebounds, Otto, and then for Evans, that is going to be the leader for assists, okay? So my overall takeaways on this game is TCU just did not play well in this game, okay? And I think part of that was the defense that was getting played by Utah. You saw them mixing it up. You saw them doing some zone. You saw them doing some man and everything. So you're making them have to take some threes and everything and not being able to get it where they want to, in the post necessarily. You have some bad turnovers. They miss some really easy layups that they can make whenever you miss the free throws, especially that one that Olivia missed at the end that's backbreaking. Once it got to overtime, they just didn't really have anything to give. They kept fouling and sending them to the free throw line, which is a big no-no. And then they couldn't get enough points, they were probably kept out of transition. You only had 2 fast break points, so that's a problem as well. I just think fundamentally they didn't play well, for the most part. I mean, 9 of 39 from 3 when you're taking 39 threes. So yeah, I think that Utah, their defensive pressure, it bothered them, and when you go 13 to 23 from the 3-point line, that perimeter defense by TCU, it was just food, okay? So yeah, I thought that TCU needed a test. I didn't think that they were going to be losing to Utah of all teams. So they got to look themselves in the mirror. Because, it gets to a point. And then, like I've said, they don't have a bench and they got no production from their bench virtually. So that is definitely not going to help them at this rate, okay? So that's my takeaways. That is my takeaway. Okay, so I took a brief intermission because I was filming this and I couldn't miss the Unrivaled game. So Breeze was taking on Vinyl, which I'll talk about a little bit. But I did want to talk about Breeze and Rose first and Unrivaled. So this is actually a good segue for me. So looking at the stat lines, I thought that Breeze had some good stuff. Paige, 21.3 minutes, 15 points, 6 of 14 shooting, 1 of 4 from the 3, 2 free throws, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, no block, and 4 turnovers in this game, okay? And so I will say that they did update Paige assists and give her 10 assists, which means we got a double-double in her hands. If you know one thing about me, I love a good guard double-double because you don't see them all the time. So I was happy with that. The turnovers show, I think they got cleaned up. And yeah, they be pressuring her a lot. And everything. But we know Paige take care of the ball. Okay, it's a rare occurrence. We look at Rakia, 19.7 minutes in this game. 20 points, 8 of 16 shooting, 4 of 6 from the 3-point line, 0-1 free throws, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers. So I thought Rakia had some good stuff. The defense still don't move me, but I thought she was good in that game for sure. Okay, making some key shots. Dom, 12.5 minutes played, 20 points, 9 of 14 from the field, 0-1 from the three, 101 free throws, 5 rebounds, and no assists, no steals, 1 block, 4 turnovers. So gotta take care of the basketball, and the defense is bad, but made some nice shots in this game. So I'll give her that. Cam Brink, 11.3 minutes played, 12 points, 4 of 6 shooting, and you had 2 or 3 from the 3-point line, 101 free throws, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, no steals, 1 block, and 1 turnover. So it's a good stat line for her. And then Kate Martin, 6.6 minutes played, 2 points, 1 of 3 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, and then you had no free throws, 5 rebounds, no assists, no steal, no block, and 1 turnover. So not our best, okay? And then that's everybody from Breeze. And then for Rose, Chelsea Gray, I don't know why we didn't guard her more, but she had 22.1 minutes played, 37 points, 12 of 20 shooting, 7 of 9 from the 3-point line, okay? That fourth quarter, she had 13 points or something. 2 free throws, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, no block, and 3 turnovers. Lexi Hull, 16.3 minutes played, 7 points, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 6 from the 3, no free throws, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, 4 steal, no block, and no turnover. And y'all know Lexi, hold on, move me, please. Azare, 10.3 minutes played, 12 points, 4 of 14 shooting, which it's just a rough shooting night. 2 of 7 from the 3, 1 free throws, 6 rebounds, and then you had 1 assist, no steal, no block, no turnovers. And Shakira Austin, 12.6 minutes played, 17 points, 8 of 12 from the field, no threes, 1 of 3 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, and then you had no assist, 1 steal, no block, and 3 turnovers. And then Shook Sutton, 10.1 minutes played, no points, 0-3 from the field, 0-1 from the 3-point line, no free throws, 1 rebound, and then you had 3 assists, 0 steal, 0 block, and 0 turnover, okay? So that's the advanced stats for everyone from Rose, okay? And then if we're looking at everything with the team stats, so from the field, Breeze was 28 of 53, 52.8%, 7 3-pointers made, 46.7%, 4 5 from the free throw line, 80%, 29 total rebounds, 5 offensive, 24 defensive. You got 16 assists. You had 2 steals, 3 blocks, 12 total turnovers in this game, 10 fouls. And then for Rose, 27 of 57. From the field, 47.4%. And then you had 10 3-pointers made in this game, 43.5%, 4 or 6 from the free throw line, 66.7%. And then 29 total rebounds. You had 8 offensive rebounds, 21 defensive rebounds, 15 assists, 16 steals. Okay, you had no blocks, 7 turnovers, and 9 fouls. So my takeaways on the Breeze and the Rose game is that the same things. That Paige is always getting double teamed. She got to get, they have to help her more with that, like setting screens, relieving pressure, making shots. So you just always see those things, right? And I don't know why we didn't have anybody guarding Chelsea Gray. I don't know why that wasn't Paige's defensive assignment. Her defensive assignment was Lexi Hull. I would just leave Lexi Hull open, if anything, or give Rakia that assignment, because Rakia's defense is not the best, but on Lexi Hull, I'm really not that worried. Just leave her open, if anything. So I did not understand that. I did not understand that straight up and everything. And so Chelsea Gray just kept killing us, I think she had foul trouble in the beginning of this game, but yeah, she just kept killing us wide open for threes. They do a great job at setting screens and getting her open, and so it was just frustrating to see that. It was really frustrating to see that. We should have done way better limiting her than we did. So I feel like that was the big dagger, the fact that we can't play defense, the fact that Noel's coaching and rotations are not good and everything. We had a lead in this game, but we choked. So that's kind of my takeaways overall and everything, because we should have done better in that game. Then I want to give my thoughts on the game that just happened against the Vinyl. Okay, so I got the stats ready in front of me. So for this game, Paige, 20.3 minutes played, 25 points, 9 of 20 shooting, 3 of 5 from the 3, 3 of 3 free throws. She had 8 rebounds total in this game, 7 assists, no steal, no block, and 2 turnovers, okay? And in the beginning, it wasn't Paige's best shooting game, but she figured it out for herself in the second half, and so love to see that. She had some really cool plays in this game. She had a logo 3. She had a couple threes in this game as well. Being able to finish your contact, that mid-range is always going to be a mainstay in Paige Becker's game. So she really figured it out for herself. So I was definitely happy to see that. And I said this in my TikTok review, if you guys follow me over there, but some of these Paige fans who the second she doesn't have the best game just be shitting on her on the timeline and everything and be saying all that. Y'all know DMs exist for a reason, right? Saying all that publicly, people gonna use that against you, and it's just weird to me. I don't know. I just feel like whenever my favorite players are not having a good game, why add on to that and everything? I don't know. I think that's kind of odd, but she really did find her stride in the second half, I felt, okay? Rakia, 18.6 minutes played. She had 13 points, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from the 3 of 3 free throws. She had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, no steal, no block, and 2 turnovers. Rakia in this game, like, she was okay. She was okay. The defense from Rakia just basically non-existent, and then when she does try, she be getting cooked. So I just want to see more on the defensive end from Rakia because I know that she can score. So that's kind of how I feel right now. And then we look at Dom, 14.7 minutes played, 13 points, 6 of 13 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3, 0-1 from the free throw line. She had 9 rebounds total, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, and 5 turnovers. Like I think I just said, Dom has to take care of the basketball. Dom has to take care of the basketball, okay? Like, when you have 5 turnovers in this game, it's just passing it into traffic, and you just have to be more aware. You have to be more aware in taking care of the basketball. So I think that was my number one frustration with Dom in this game. And then defensively, she be getting cooked. She did have a nice block in this game, and she did have a steal, so I'll give her that and everything. But the defense, it has to improve. It has to improve. So I think that's my big thing. Again, she's somebody, we know that she can score in a variety of ways, but I think that's the thing that frustrates me. Cam Brink, 10 minutes played, 7 points, 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3, 1-on-1 free throw. She had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, no steal, 2 blocks, and 2 turnovers. Cam Brink in this game offensively was not her best shooting night, and then defensively, she kept getting cooked, okay? She did walk away with 2 blocks in this game, so that is positive, and that one she had on Ray Burrell, that was nice, But I think the thing that was really frustrating for me was just the fact that Brittany Griner was cooking her in this game multiple times, okay? So having to be better about that, playing defense without fouling, and offensively, it wasn't her best. So, yeah, it wasn't great. Kate Martin, 10.6 minutes played, 8 points, 4 of 8 from the field, and 0-2 from the 3. No free throws, 3 rebounds total. She had 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 1 turnover. So that reverse that she hit was T. I'm going to give her that. But it's a decent game, Didn't try to do too much. Kate Martin usually just does fine, Like, she plays her role, doesn't try to do too much on either side. Sometimes she'd be jacking up threes, and there's a place for that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she'd be doing too much. But usually she does her role. And then I have to read the stats for final. I almost forgot. So Hamby, 14.3 minutes played, 21 points, 8 of 18 shooting, 1 of 3 from the 3, 2 of 2 free throws, 6 rebounds. She had 2 assists in this game, 2 steals, no blocks, and no turnovers, which is good. Hamby, she just loves that inside game. She's going to take it to the rim, and she's going to finish. That's what Hamby's going to do. She did hit a 3 in this game as well, so doing that. The defense, she had 2 steals, so defense, but she always gets it done, I remember seeing that 40 piece that she had. But Hamby's just effective. She has multiple moves at the rim at this rate. So Hamby just playing her game. And then Ryan Howard, 18.8 minutes played, 30 points, 10 of 18 shooting, 6 of 11 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws, 7 rebounds, okay? You had 3 assists, 3 steals, no blocks, and 3 turnovers. So you leave Ryan open from that 3-point line, she's going to make you pay every single time. If you see enough Atlanta Dream games or Ryan playing games, you know that Ryan is going to take that 3. That's just what she's going to do. She gets them up at a high clip. She likes to take them. So why you leave her open at the 3-point line, I don't know, and she was killing us. From that overall, and just getting it done. And she's a great defender as well when she has 3 steals in this game, and she's just a great defender historically. So yeah, we got cooked by Ryan as well. And then Courtney Williams, 16.3 minutes. She had 6 points, 3 of 11 shooting, 0-1 from the 3, 0-0 free throw. She had 6 rebounds, and then she had 6 assists, 1 steal, no block, and no turnovers in this game. Y'all know Courtney Williams does not move me, okay? I'm moving on to Ray Burrell, okay? 7.4 minutes played. She had 2 points, 1 of 6 shooting, 0-2 from the 3. She had no free throws, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, I believe. No steal, no block, and 1 turnover. Okay, so yeah, not her finest hour. I don't expect a whole lot from her just to be a good bench contributor. And this game, it wasn't hitting for her. Brittany Griner, 10.4 minutes played, 17 points, 6 of 10 from the field. She had no threes, 3 of 3 free throws, 7 rebounds total. She had 1 assist, no steal, 2 blocks, and 1 turnover. Just BG playing our game, okay? BG at this rate, like I said, probably closer to retirement, and that's no shade. Then that's no shade because she'll be one of the best ever at her position when it's all said and done. And, we all know that, and that's okay. In this game, Brittany, she was lining it up. She was lining it up, okay? Like I said, she cooked Cam. She cooked Cam all the time, and she was just doing different moves. She was getting crafty, okay? So she did her big one, so I definitely got to give credit to BG for her contribution in this game. Erica Willer, 7 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 1-on-1 threes, no free throws, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists, I believe. No steal, no block, and no turnover. So, yeah, not much to talk about with Erica Willer in this game. We take a look at the advanced stats. So from the field, Breeze was 24, 56, 42.9%, 6 3-pointers in this game, 37.5%, 7 of 8 free throws, 87.5%, 34 total rebounds, so 10 offensive rebounds and 24 defensive rebounds. He had 12 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks, and 12 turnovers and 11 fouls for Breeze. And then for Vinyl, 30 of 68 from the floor, 44.1%, 8 3-pointers made, 44%, 89 from the free throw line, 88.9%, 38 total rebounds, 15 offensive, 23 defensive, and then you had 19 assists, 6 steals, and 2 blocks, 5 turnovers, and 12 fouls, okay? So my overall takeaways in this game right here, Noelle cannot coach, and I've been saying that, Her feel for the game is just not there. I'm talking about with her rotations. That one rotation that she was doing when she had like Dom, I believe, Rakia, and Kate, that one was just fruitless. Like, it didn't work. You saw them getting cooked on defense. We don't have a good ball handler outside of Paige. And you can say Ari McDonald, but no shade, she's kind of been a non-factor. So you have those things, and right when Paige was getting in rhythm, at a point in the third quarter, she took her out for some reason. I don't understand that. And I'm all for Paige getting rest. If you guys have seen my Dallas reviews, y'all know that. But why take out a player whenever they are shooting the basketball well? I didn't understand that. And so I think that that's one of the things that frustrates me the most about Noelle's. Like, they were even showing her during the game, and it was all kumbaya, like this Chris Koklanis type situation. So she can't coach. I told you guys during the season in the Seattle stuff that she couldn't get coached and that she was going to get fired, which she did. And so, yeah, like, there was that. And then Paige getting double teamed, things that we already knew, needing to set screens, relieve some pressure and everything as well. The team defense is in the gutter, as I've already stated as well. So that's a huge problem. The perimeter defense, leaving people wide open for threes time and time and time again. When you're fouling people, sending them to the free throw line as well. And I think that Breeze just didn't play well in this game. Like, if we look at the beginning of this game specifically for Breeze, it was just rough. I felt like Paige was really trying to get her teammates involved in everything, and then it wasn't the best for her shot at the beginning, and we know that she found it. But I think that's kind of what happened at the beginning, at least the first half. And there was a point we were losing this game by like 32 points. Like, we were getting clobbered in this game. It was really bad. And then the third quarter, Paige found her shot, and she got moving, and then the offense, everyone else started making shots, and it was just some really good ball movement. The defense, like I said, y'all know that's not good at this rate. And then Noelle took her out, and then that other lineup and all that other stuff. And then the fourth, we had some good moments, but I basically feel like the team kind of started gelling too late in the game. You can't wait till the third quarter to kind of get in rhythm and stuff and then expect things to go well. And they were trying. It was just, sometimes you just don't play your best game, your sharpest game. So I think that Breeze just didn't really play that well. Honestly, and everything, you got to give credit to Vinyl for, they had moments of good defense. I wouldn't say that their defense was locked down per se, but they had moments of good defense. They shot the ball way better, took advantage of our defensive lapses and the sloppiness. So, yeah, Breeze lost the last 2 games. Now you got to get back to the drawing board and everything, but I genuinely feel like Breeze is only going to go as far as Paige takes them, which is probably pretty far because Paige is a generational player, as we know, and everything, because like I said, Noelle Quinn can't coach. But what happens when Paige doesn't necessarily have her best game and you need other people to step up and kind of help? I just don't feel like that's going to happen. Paige has been carrying and everything. So I think that's what I get concerned about. And LA Sparks of Unrivaled, as I already said, I believe here too. So I think that those are some of my takeaways, and we'll see how everything goes, but just a lot that is needed. You know, the offense, it'll be fine next game. I don't have a problem about that. I worry about the defense. Okay, I did want to shout out the fact that Paige is tied with Marina Mabry on the assist leaderboard. Now, this is old. This was before the game that just happened, but I did want to shout that out with 22 assists before this game. And then she leading the free throw challenge 100%, and she made her free throws in this one too, and so you get a prize for that, okay? So definitely want to say that. I don't know if I said this, but the CPR lineup is fun as well. So I definitely wanted to say that as well. And Breeze is a fun team usually, but got to get it together, okay? And in my last podcast, I did not talk at all about the other teams in Unrivaled, even though I had seen some games. So yeah, I just kind of want to give some overarching thoughts. So Laces, I have caught some recent games, overall thoughts. I'll talk about AT later, but you guys probably know how I feel about her. If not, I'll go into detail about that, but doing her part, I suppose. Jackie Young, I like Jackie Young. Brittany Sykes has been doing some good stuff in Unrivaled, I think. Same with Jackie, obviously. Jordan Canada is a shot chucker, and I get why Atlanta Dream fans want to move on from her. Maddie Siegrist has been good for Dallas, and she's the utility player. She's doing the same in Unrivaled. Naz Hellman has been all right. I think Laces is a decent club for what it's worth, and, you know, they've been able to pull out some close ones. So shout out to them. In a sense, Miss, you had Alicia Gray, and Alicia Gray is a great player, so shout out to her. Stewie, I have an affinity for Stewie personally as a UConn fan, and she's really the GOAT, so I love Stewie. and she's been doing some good stuff for them as well from the last game that I saw. Lan, I'm a Lynx fan, and Lan, I have my gripes with her, but I think for the most part she's been good, showing off a little bit more of a bag offensively and defensively, doing some good stuff there too. Veronica Burton takes hard shots for no reason. She can give you some good defense and stuff as well. Some of the things that she does, it frustrates me, but she can run the point. Arike's a shot chucker, and she's always going to be that, and I'll talk about her later. Lee moves like there are bricks on her feet, and that's kind of what frustrates me. Bad defense, I feel like, from Lee at this rate, but I think she's been decent and unrivaled for the most part, okay? The last game that I watched, I felt they lost because Lan did not play enough, especially in the fourth quarter. The coach decided to roll with Arike instead of Lan, which I disagree with. You need defensive stops, and they didn't get it, which is why they lost. So that was irritating, but, they've been decent so far from what I've seen. We go into rows, so you got Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray is lighting it up, okay, definitely carrying them, so shout out to Chelsea Gray. And that behind the back pass that she did in one of the games that I watched, she did it twice and they missed the layup both times, but she's an awesome player. She can facilitate, she can score, having some good moments on defense, so Chelsea Gray is awesome, and so I think she's definitely been carrying this club. And I remember watching last year her carrying, and that's the reason why they got that chip after Angel went out, was because she was literally putting on back-to-back 30-point performances, so shout out to her. Kalia Copper, awesome player. I love Kalia Copper. She can either be a shooting guard or she can be a wing. And so she just came back. Wasn't her best game, but she just came back, so I'm going to give her some grace. Azare's decent, Shug Sutton, Lexi Hull does not move me. I'll elaborate later probably because I'm going to do a WNBA section. And Shakira Austin has moments where she looks good and has moments where I'm not kind of buying it. I don't know. I feel like people be overrating her. Like the PR that I've been seeing as of late, I didn't necessarily get that. And then we look at the Hive. So we got Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell is a great scorer to basketball. She doesn't really do a whole lot of assisting or rebounding or defense per se. So don't expect that from her. But if you need somebody to hit some threes, to get to the cup for you and just find a way to score the basketball, that is what Kelsey Mitchell is here for. Okay. And she does a great job at that. And that first team All-W was so richly deserved. Okay. So shout out to Kelsey Mitchell for that. Sonya's 3-and-D, and I think that she does a good job at that for sure. I don't know why people still keep trying to call her a shooting guard. She is not a guard. She is a small forward. Okay, let's get that right. And I think she's really starting to find her stride in Unrivaled these past few games, so I'm happy for her. And then we look at Ezzy. I think that Ezzy's decent. She should make her free throws more. I would like to see a little bit more offensively, defensively. You know what you're going to get. Natisha Heidemann has not been moving the needle in Unrivaled for me at all. Sanaya Rivers, game changer defensively, generational defensively. The offense, the shots are coming. Last game, I thought she did a good job of balancing, finding her shot, was still playing great defense. So I like Sanaya Rivers a lot. And the fact that she did not make that second team all defense is BS. I'm sorry. That second team all defense was a hot mess. That first team, I could live with it. That second team, she should have been on there. Because she had, 62 steals and 38 blocks or something, and that's not good enough for second team all defense and everything. And I think some people said that the defense awards or whatever, it's based off of team defense, but I don't know. I personally feel like that's not fair. So I don't know. I feel like she should have been on there. I really do. Like, she was really robbed of that honor, but I think she's doing some good stuff. She'll probably play some more minutes. Monique Billings, I think she's been good and Unrivaled. She's that utility player, making the shots when she needs to, having some good defensive stuff. So I've been moved by her in Unrivaled. I haven't really watched her a whole lot previously, but I think she's been good. Lunar Owls, Skylar is out right now. We'll see when she comes back. Marina is a shot chucker like Arike. They both went to Notre Dame. It is what it is. So she's either really hot or she's bad. She's doing a carry job right now along with Aaliyah Edwards for the Lunar Owls, okay? So they're really putting their best foot forward. The fact that Aaliyah Edwards had a 38 piece and they did not win the game, that hurt my heart a whole lot, But they're doing a carry job together right now. Nafisa Collier is out, okay? That hurts my heart. Nafisa Collier, as I mentioned, is one of my favorite players, and that's why I don't like AT. Okay? And then we go on to Rachel Banham. Rachel Banham is not good. Okay? So I'm not even going to entertain that. Beck Allen is also not good, so I'm not entertaining that either. And then, like I said, Aaliyah Edwards and Marina Mabry have been doing a carry job, but I was going to watch them before the season, but with Fee being out, I'm done with that. I saw some of it. It's not good hoops. Okay? That coach is not moving me either. We look at Phantom, Kelsey Plum. I like Kelsey Plum. I genuinely do. She has been a free throw merchant this last WNBA season, which showered me on her, okay? Because it was like you were playing to get the free throws and just make the shots more, okay? But when the ball is going through the hoop for Kelsey Plum, I think she's a whole lot of fun to watch. She likes to drive a lot. She'll take the threes. I would like to see her take more of those mid-range shots. Her defense is terrible, and she has to step that up. She tries, but it's just terrible. But she's been really good in Unrivaled so far, so I really enjoy watching her play. Satu is out with a concussion, unfortunately. AB, I don't like her because of the elbows, and she plays dirty. And the Fever fans want to keep lying, but I was just rewatching some of my reviews whenever they played Dallas in that game that we won by 1 point, and Aaliyah was hacking people all over the place. So I don't even want to hear that. And I said that she should get a partnership with a lotion company because of how much she elbows people and everything. So she just doesn't play ethically, and she doesn't need to do that. That's the entire thing. Because I've seen her when she doesn't do that, and she's a good player objectively and everything. She had this one reverse. What was that? That was T. She had a block on AT. Like, she has some good plays and everything, and she can play defense too. She doesn't need to do all that dirty stuff. So that's what frustrates me and everything. And I don't know. It's just I can't really see through that. Because she plays dirty continuously. And Unrivaled, she gets called for the fouls though. Okay, so there's that. I think that the two-man game between her and Kelsey Plum has been really good so far in Unrivaled. Dana Evans, I don't think she's played, so there's nothing to talk about, but for Chicago Sky, terrorist. Natasha Cloud, last W season, has not moved me in Unrivaled. She's been decent. It depends on the game. She can facilitate occasionally. She can hit some shots, but I don't know. I'm not that moved on Natasha Cloud. Kiki Iriafin, she had some rough games in Unrivaled. One game she was 1 for 10, so it was really rough. I think recently she's starting to find her shot. She's getting the confidence as well, being able to give you some good stuff on defense. She's rebounding the basketball, so I think she's really finding it. So I'm happy for Kiki because it was a tough start for her. Okay. And then last up, we have Vinyl. Courtney Williams is a terrorist. I'll elaborate later, but she doesn't move me. And then Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard is somebody who's streaky. Like, she can, like, in this last game, she had 30 points. And when she's hot, she's hot. Like, she'll make all types of crazy shots. I saw this one shot during the Seattle game where she hit a three, got a steal on defense, and then hit another three. Like, that's one of the most insane sequences that I've ever seen. She likes to take a lot of threes. She can score in a variety of ways. She's your prototypical small forward, the 3-and-D. She can play defense too. Whenever it's a bad game for Ryan, it's bad, but I think she's a good player, you know? And then De'Erica Hamby. I like De'Erica Hamby. I think she's kind of underrated with her performances for the Sparks this past year. She averaged, 18 points a game. So I think she's a good player. She had a 40-piece as well, first 40-piece in Unrivaled history. So she's going to take it to the cup, pretty much find ways to finish at the rim. That's really her game. Occasionally she'll take some outside shots, but that's not really what she does. The defense, and we could use some work. Erica Willis, the terrorist. And then Ray Burrell. She's a good bench piece, you know, at times, but she's 6'2" and she plays like she's 5'8". So that's my problem with Ray Burrell. And then Brittany Griner, like I said, probably inching more towards retirement at this rate, but, you know, obviously one of the legends of WNBA in the game, so I have to give my respect to her, and obviously she fried us the last game. Now I'm getting into my section where I talk about the WNBA and kind of give you guys some of my overall opinions to those who are new. I kind of gave some of my opinions on some of these players, but the teams that I mainly followed, I followed Dallas, Chicago, and Minnesota, and so the teams that I watched on the side whenever my teams went on were LA and New York, so I have some more opinions on them. And then, so if Paige, Angel, or Fee was out of those games, I did not watch, but yeah, those were my main teams that I followed. So for Dallas Wings was terrible last year, 10-34, so it's just a rough year. And now I get to my part where I talk about, you know, why I'm a Paige fan, okay? I got this photo for the visual viewers of whenever I met Paige. She wrote nice shoes, and then this is whenever I met Paige. So there's that right there, But basically, Paige is somebody who is a 3-level scorer. Okay, she can hit the 3, the mid-range is a staple in her game, and it's just really smooth. And then also she can finish at the rim and through contact as well. And she's just somebody who has such a deep bag whenever you're seeing like that behind-the-back moment against the Liberty, whenever they were wearing the Rebel uniforms, like that was cool as well. What she was doing was Stephanie Talbot in that other game, like she fried Stephanie Talbot, but she just has a deep bag. She can score in a variety of ways. She can do a sidestep 3. She can pull up and stop on a dime if she needs to. Like, she can do so many things offensively, and she's only adding to the bag. So I think that she's just a lot of fun because she can score in a variety of ways, okay? But that mid-range is really her staple. And then her defense, I feel like it's underrated, but I think she has really good anticipation on defense. She can get the steal, she can get the block, and last season I thought she had some good moments on defense for sure. I'm trying to pull up her full, like, defensive stats that you can count, at least so I can kind of talk about that for a second. So let me pull that up. Okay, so last season for the WNBA, Paige had 57 steals and she had 18 blocks. So I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for the stuff that counts, obviously. And then there's the stuff that you don't see, like that shot clock violation that she ended up forcing on Bria Hartley and stuff, so she did some good stuff with that as well. And yeah, I really like Paige as a defender. I feel like she's underrated and everything. There's room to grow for sure, but people acting like Paige is bad on defense, I have eyes. Paige is really good on defense, okay? So I have to give her that, and I really like her leadership qualities as well. Like, it really shines through, and her teammates talk about how good of a leader that she is as well, and that's something that you just have to appreciate, okay? People don't appreciate leadership enough, but there's that. I just think she's a generational player. Just seeing how she plays the game and everything that she can do, and the amount of times when she stepped up in big moments, like that NC State Elite Eight game when she had 12 points in regulation, 15 in overtime, only missed one shot in overtime. Like, that was insane. And she's just had a lot of carry jobs. She's had a lot of carry jobs that she's done every single year she was at UConn, taking those teams to the Final Four. She's just an elite player. She's just an elite player that will be one of the premier guards for a very long time. And all WNBA is coming. MVP is coming, Olympics is coming, championships are coming. She's somebody who has the heart of a champion, talking about that as well. And off the court, I like that. Like, she's really funny, and I like her fashion sense as well. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know how people don't like Paige. I don't know how people don't like Paige. I'm sorry. You see what she does on the court. It's literally insane. The carry jobs I've seen her pull out in these games and everything. I'll never forget the 44 piece. I'll never forget the 35 piece. Like, I'll just never forget those games for sure. And just watching the UConn games as well. And I first started watching through the tournament. And yeah, every time I talk about Paige, I talk about Paige for a long time because there's just so much to like in her game, and I'm always forgetting stuff. Oh, she takes care of the ball extremely, extremely well. That's what I really appreciate. Always a great assist to turnover ratio, and Paige has really made me value efficiency. Before Paige, like when I first started getting into basketball, I didn't really pay attention to those metrics. But now every single time I'm looking at your field goals, I'm looking at your true shooting, your assist to turnover ratio. Paige does a great job at taking care of the basketball, even whenever she gets double teamed as well. And I really do appreciate those things. I really do appreciate those things. But yeah, she's a winner. She's a fantastic player, a franchise player, and just my favorite player to watch play the game, genuinely. And that's why I'm excited that Unrivaled is back, okay? And if you saw what she was going through that last season with Dallas, she was literally in hell. She was literally in hell. She was carrying the whole season and everything. And what she was able to do, that first team All-W was so deserved. And I'm so mad she got robbed from that. She had 19.2 points a game, 3.9 rebounds, 5.4 assists, and also 1.6 steals. And she was the only player to be top 10 in points, assists, and steals, I believe. And then also she had so many double figure games. She had 30 consecutive ones or something like that. And that Valkyries game, that was unethical the way that streak ended, because she was getting fouled. She got pushed. They called the foul on her. She was getting fouled all over the place, and she did not get enough calls. And that's part of the reason why I don't like the Valkyries, which I'll talk about later. But there's just so much positive to say about Paige, the way that she plays the game, the way that she contributes to winning, her leadership, and all those other things. And I'd be forgetting, but it's Paige Glaze FC around here. I'm sorry. I don't play about Paige. Okay? And like, the only reason I watched Dallas, pretty much. So just a lot of love for Paige as a player, okay? I can't believe whenever I was talking about Paige, I forgot to put this in the section. I didn't have any notes written down. I was just speaking off the top of my head. But obviously her ability as a point guard and just the way that she sees the floor, the plays that she's setting up, it's just really a chess match, the way that she reads defenses as well. Okay, so yeah, Paige at the point guard position, it's just true art to see. Just, you can see how she loves setting up her teammates for opportunities and everything, using her gravity to get assists as well, that pick and roll that you saw her running with Sarah Strong at UConn and everything. And just, yeah, like what an art that is, okay? And then I don't think I talked about her efficiency a little bit as well, but her efficiency is obviously great. She said that she only likes to take great shots. And there's a lot that I really appreciate about Paige's game. I kind of talk about later how people say that Paige isn't a point guard and how I think that that's BS and everything, but there was no way I could let the Paige session go by and not talk about the great things that she's done as a point guard. And I said, some of the other great things like heart of a champion and all those things, but just what a great basketball player, her versatility as well in the positions that she can play, and just the way that she can shoot the basketball as well. Like, there's just a lot to like, but I had to add that in. And now I get to the part where I talk about Arike. I mentioned earlier that Arike is a shot chucker. So what does shot chucker mean? To me, I mentioned this in last episode, but it's just somebody who just takes a lot of shots, and not great shots at that, okay? Like, she just throws stuff up. I'm thinking about that game against Seattle when she went 2 of 14, and just some other performances that she's had that were particularly bad. So she's a shot chucker. The defense, I feel like, is inconsistent, I will say she can have good moments, and there's times where she fouls people, act surprised about that. But yeah, Arike just was not as advertised. That All-Star game did so much PR. I really fell for the PR guys too. I really, really did. That was one of the only times I saw Arike play, okay? And she went off in that game, had 34 points or something. And I remember on Twitter, they were doing a whole lot of PR for her and just blaming everybody else and saying that, we were going to see, and we did see the terrorism. Arike in transition in a fast break situation is terrorism, and it just, Arike and Paige, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Arike loves to go ISO, and Paige is just not that way. She likes to find the best shot available and everything. Paige is really efficient. She doesn't need a whole lot of shots. and everything. When you have to take 20 shots to get 20 points, like, that's just not a good game to me. That's just not a good game to me, you know, objectively. And so, yeah, Arike, I just have so many moments of frustration, moments where, you know, she didn't come through and all the other stuff. And it's just really layered at this point. It's really layered at this point. But those are the things. When Paige had the 35 piece, Arike only had 10. That's when I moved off of this pay Arike train and I started saying AZ to Dallas. And I've been there, and we will get AZ. But the Arike PR, I'm just never going to understand it, because all those games that I had to see, like, no, and people want to blame Chris, and I do not like Chris at all. If you've seen my videos, I cannot stand him. I celebrated when he got fired, and that went viral. But he wasn't the one out there taking all those shots and missing all those shots. Like I said, Arike could have built a Dallas facility on her own with the amount of bricks that she had this last season. It was genuinely egregious. Like, Arike just does not move me, bro. And I'm tired of the PR. I'm tired of the PR that they're doing for Arike. It was not good. It was not good, okay? I think if we keep her this upcoming season, it's not going to work. And we're going to see a trade-out all-star anyway. So that's how I see it. Dejanay, I think Dejanay is a decent player. I think she's best whenever she's playing that 3-and-D role. Chris was having her play point guard and shooting guard and also a power forward. Like, it was a mess. So when you play her out of position, I think that that's a problem. I think she's at her best when you limit her to like 5-10 shots a game and just have her play elite defense in that 3-and-D role. And so Chris wasn't utilizing her right, and there was a whole lot of moments that they had and all that stuff. Dejanay was in the right for that. Ultimately, she got traded to Minnesota and everything. I think that she showed she can play a role well. In structure, I think she really strives. And Dallas didn't really have structure, so I think that was part of the problem. But I think Dejanay is a decent player. And Tierra McCowan didn't really do nothing for us. Okay, she really didn't. So there's not much to talk about. Maddie Segrist, I talked about this earlier, but mainly a utility player. She'll hit shots when you need her to. I think the defense is not great from her. I think she needs to improve with that and everything. But she just does those little things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. Ty Harris, I think, was decent. But what is it called? She got hurt, so she didn't get to play the full season. If we don't bring her back, I do not mind. Liz, I just feel like Liz, she had moments where she looked good with us, but she just couldn't consistently get double figures. She's a defensive liability. Like, it just is what it is at this rate. I think the trade was the best decision for both parties. We got a first-round pick, and Vegas got the chip, and she got a situation that she can thrive in and everything. I just think for us, wasn't necessarily the right fit. You know, that's kind of how I feel about Liz at this rate, okay? MHA is also a terrorist. You know, I'm thinking of that game when Paige had 19 against Seattle, the same one Arike was 2 of 14 in, and then MHA turned over the basketball multiple times in that game, okay? And this facilitator stuff doesn't work, defensive liability. They showed highlights in one of the games, and it was just Asia Wilson cooking her multiple times. It was like 4 different possessions, and that's what it is. So it's just that, making bad basketball plays. And Paige's 44 piece when she turned over the ball, it's stuff like that as well. Not being efficient from the field. There was a game where she had 0 points in the season, I believe. Like, it's just so many bad plays at the hands of Maisha Hines Allen, okay? And so, yeah, if you've seen any of my videos, you know, Arike, MHA, and Chris, those were always going to be the ones that I had something to say about. Those are the 3 that irritated me the very most. But MHA, like, I don't understand people. Like, I don't know how she stayed in the starting lineup for so long. Some thoughts on some other players. Grace Berger, terrible. I think she had 29% true shooting. So, she, like, that's one of the worst players in the W I've ever seen. I think that Amy was a demon for us whenever she came in. Haley, she developed into someone good for us, and then she kind of fell off. So if we don't keep her, I wouldn't necessarily mind that, okay? And I'm trying to think if there's any other players that I really want to talk about for the team. JJ Quinterly, it's like mini Arike. We can cut the losses. Zaza, I think, kind of a shot chucker. Her defense is terrible. I wouldn't mind if we necessarily moved on from her. I think our bench is bad. I think we have to clean up the bench as well. And Chris, I kind of already alluded to this, but Chris was terrible. He had bad rotations and everything, and just bad moments. Whenever you're having MHA in a starting lineup, Grace Berger in a starting lineup, it's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And the whole season I was talking about hashtag let Paige play point guard, because Paige was not playing point guard in a lot of the games, okay? And I forgot to say this too, but people in the year of our Lord 2026 keep trying to tell me that Paige Beckers is not a point guard. And that's what's frustrating to me, because this is not true, okay? If you want to say Paige is a combo guard, fine, because she can play that 2 role, she can play that 3 role. In college, she was playing power forward, okay? So she can do those things, right? But people who really think that Paige is exclusively a shooting guard, they do not watch Paige. They do not watch Paige. You see how the offense runs whenever Paige is not the primary ball handler, and you see how everything goes into disarray. Turnovers, offensive possessions that result in nowhere and everything. and you're having shot clock violations as well. Like, Paige organizes the offense. Paige at her best is a point guard. Yes, she can play that 2-role, that 3-role if she needs to. Yes. But Paige is a point guard. Paige is a point guard. And people really were laughing at me when I said Paige is a point guard. I'm sorry. You want to see point guard at its best? You watch players like Paige. I'm sorry. Like, this should not be anything controversial to say, but apparently it is at this rate. And so whenever he didn't have Paige running the point and just playing players out of position straight up, that was just something that was so dumb of him to do. His use of timeouts and challenges was so dumb whenever... Oh, I forgot to talk about Diamond Miller, but her legacy game against Minnesota when she had more shots attempted than Paige was so dumb. And then she told him to take a challenge, and he did. And then they lost the challenge because she clearly hit Fee's hand and fouled her. So that was dumb. He's not a great culture builder and everything. You could tell that the players hated him, that he hated them. He was laughing at Paige whenever she got a concussion and everything in the press conference. He doesn't know what he's talking about. This whole free-flowing and everybody hunting their shot doesn't work, because Paige and Enrique, for the most part, were the only ones who should have 15 to 20 field goal attempted. And even Enrique, y'all know how I feel about her, because she's a generational shot chucker. And Habitat for Humanity collab may be coming soon, and Enrique will be at Toronto Temple, and that's what I can tell you. But he just frustrated me. He just doesn't know how to lead a team, and just so many games where we had the opportunity to win. Minnesota within 4, that Valkyries game at the end when we had the opportunity, the Aces game when we had that fourth quarter meltdown. So many things come down to coaching and everything, and he just could not fundamentally coach, and I cannot stand Chris Koklanis. So the day that he got fired, I was happy, and that's why I was celebrating, okay? And so I'll put the clip right here of whenever I celebrated Chris getting fired, so y'all have the context for that. What? Wait. Y'all, hold on. No, hold on. I pray for days like this. Finally. I'm dead ass. You guys know I wouldn't play about this shit. Oh my God. Oh my God, guys. I'm serious. This feels like Christmas Day. Man, fuck Christmas. Oh my God. I'm starting to shed a tear. Oh, bro, I prayed. Chris Koklanis will not return. They want to know what I would do if I didn't win. I pray. Hold on. I got a tweet, guys. I prayed for days like this, bro. Don Silly, this is uncommon favor. Bro. And I will say now that, like I said, AZ will be coming to us as a Dallas Swing. Thank you. Generational player will be coming to us. So that's already something that I knew was happening. We got the #1 pick, and Kurt likes to do a lot of smoke screens and everything. But I can tell you one thing for certain, that we will be getting AZ, y'all. So don't worry. We will be getting her. And so the season of misery and everything can conclude. After that 44 piece, we know it was bleak. That Seattle game that happened, that Valkyries game that happened, it was bleak. And if we had to go through that to get AZ, it was worth it, but it was a really hard watch. So yeah, it was a really tough season for Dallas. It was really hard to watch. Paige, the only reason why I watched. And it was bleak, but so many good performances from Demon. Like I said, I got to go to that Fever game when she had 27. And I did get to go to that LA Sparks game when she had 29. So when I'm in attendance, Paige had master classes, okay? So taking a second for that, okay? Next up, let's talk about the Minnesota Lynx, okay? First things first, let's talk about Napheesa Collier. I mentioned in the last episode that Napheesa Collier is one of my favorite players, and now I tell you why. Napheesa Collier is just somebody whose game is so pretty. That fadeaway jumper never gets old to see. Okay, she can score from the three-point line, and she can finish at the rim. She just had a 50, 40, 90 season. Only the second time it's been done in WNBA history, so you have that. Elite defender as well. Like, she's just a great player. I love her off the court too, but I first started watching Fee around the Olympics and everything, and that's when she had the plantar fasciitis, so it wasn't her finest stretch. So that's kind of when I started, and then I started watching again the finals, okay? I don't think I saw every game. I saw some of the games, but, you know, seeing that and everything, that's when I started to really like Fee, and then I found out later she went to UConn, okay? And you guys know I'm a UConn fan. And so that's when I really locked in and everything. And watching Fee is just an absolute treat. Just someone who's really classy, someone who plays the game in an excellent way, and someone who did a carry job for Minnesota. When she went out, they were trying to diminish her basically and her contributions and impact to this team. When nobody talks about how they knew that they had to step it up so they play better and everything. And number two, the addition of Dejanay Carrington. Nobody ever talks about the addition of Dejanay Carrington as to why they were able to win some of those games with Fee out. Nobody ever talks about that, and that's kind of odd to me. But yeah, the MVP, and I wanted that. I wanted that. She went out. She got hurt. It was unfortunate. And that was Asia Wilson's award. And, you know, I've made peace with that. I would like to see Fee get a chip in the WNBA. And, you know, they got to get better teammates around her. That's how I feel at this rate. Okay. But I'm extremely fond of Fee. And I'm tired of people disrespecting her. And it mainly comes from the Aces fans and some Liberty fans too. You can't deny Fee is one of the best players in the league. One of the best power forwards in the league. Like, that shouldn't be up for debate. So I'm extremely fond of Fee. And then I will talk about Shel Reeve, best coach in the league. The rotations in the playoffs, it was terroristic. Because whenever she did that rotation with Natisha Heidemann and Klindikova and Bridget Carlton and McBride, I think, and Lan or something, she debuted a new rotation in the playoffs you never did in the regular season. That was terroristic for sure, 100%. Okay, so I didn't agree with that and everything. And so there's that. But for the most part, I think she's a really good coach, okay? So for the most part, I like Shel Reeve. Her getting suspended after Fee got hurt, you know, that was justified because, Fee got hacked and everyone got hacked the whole game. They didn't call nothing. So I do like Shel Reeve. I think she's the best coach in the league, okay? McBride, I think McBride is a good player for sure. She can hit the threes and everything. She can get crafty when need be. She was kind of up and down the season. She showed up in the playoffs, which I was thankful for. Defense has moments where it's looked good, moments where it looked bad, but, you know, she's decent. Courtney Williams, I kind of alluded to this, but she's a terrorist. And why? Well, the reason why I don't like Courtney Williams is it's a couple of offenses. You know, whenever she went 0 of 11 against the Connecticut Sun, I did not appreciate that objectively. That was a terrible performance. Fee had to put the team on her back to win. Natisha Heidemann came through in the clutch in that fourth quarter. So that was kind of, I think, partially where it started in some other performances. And the Commissioner's Cup game, when she was 4-14 from the field, she had 6 turnovers. She played terrible. She kept taking the mid-range when I wasn't falling, okay? And she wasn't getting the ball to Fee enough. And every time that Courtney Williams gets hot in a game, it's like Fee doesn't exist. Fee doesn't get the ball. She can't run any actual plays outside of a pick and roll because she's not a real point guard, okay? It's a disgrace to the point guard position. Don't call her shooting guard because it's a disgrace to the shooting guard position. So multiple times when the moment mattered most, and I've seen Courtney Williams choke jobs, her not getting the ball to Fee, her not being a real point guard and everything, the defense don't be moving me either, and then off the court and everything be saying some problematic stuff. I just don't like Courtney Williams. I don't like Courtney Williams, okay? And so I get frustrated with that, okay? Lan, I talked about this a little bit. I like Lan. I think the thing that frustrated me was missing easy layups in season. Also, she completely disappeared in the playoffs, okay? And those are the two things that frustrated me with Lan more than anything, okay? And it needs to be better, you know, the points per game. But for the most part, I like Lan, but I was frustrated. Bridget Carlton does not move me. Bridget Carlton does not move me. I watched the games last season, and Bridget Carlton, and most of them, wasn't doing a whole lot, okay? Not being able to score enough when you have so many wide open 3 opportunities. The defense, you saw times of her getting cooked, bro, and everything. So it's just like Bridget Carlton don't move me, bro. Like, they need to get rid of Bridget Carlton. They need to get rid of Courtney Williams. And like those are the two people that have to go. Those are the two people that frustrated me most, okay? Klindikova was decent. I forgot to talk about her. Natisha Heidemann is a good spark off the bench, okay? So I will give her that as well. And I already talked about Dejanay earlier and everything with Dallas. So I think that those are the main players that are kind of contributors for the Lynx at this rate, at least this past season and everything. Okay, so I gotta add this in. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion or not, but I'm very much of the team of break the stud buds up. I'm sorry. Like I said, Courtney Williams not moving me from a basketball perspective. I think Natisha can be decent off of the bench, but it just gets to a point, I don't know, I feel like with all of that, like at a certain rate, it kind of is a distraction and everything. Like, of course, have your life off of the court and everything. I'm not against that. Just with all of that, it just gets to a point where like all the clout that came from it, and it just feels like to me at rates, it's like they care more about that than the actual basketball games and everything, and like believing their own hype outside of that. And just basketball wise for me, it's just not giving. It's just not giving. I don't know. Like I said, build a real team around Fee. But for me, the stud buds, it has to end. It has to end. Okay, that's how I see it. I don't know if y'all will agree, but I've been feeling that way. I think that they need to make big changes if they want to get Fee a championship, because the starting 5 is not it. I'm tired of her having to carry every single game on her back because they're not helping her enough. Okay, yeah, if they want to keep like Fee, McBride, and land, like that's fine. But I really think Courtney Williams and Bridget Carlton have to go if they're really serious about winning a championship. We can't run back the same core and expect things to be different and everything. So I think that's something there. I think that that's something there as well. And just some work to do for the Minnesota Lynx. The playoffs, it was disappointing that game too. For multiple reasons and everything. The officiating was a big reason for it. But I think that those are some of my overarching thoughts on the Lynx, okay? Now I talk about Chicago Sky. So you guys know that Angel Reese is one of my favorite players, okay? Why do I love Angel? Because she's tough. She does all the dirty work. Excellent defense, especially when she plays people like Asia and AT and Fee. So she's going to be a great defender. So you have that with Angel Reese. And she's somebody who can score. She's a double-double machine, okay? And she's the first forward in WNBA history to record a triple-double, okay? So I remember that day against the Connecticut Sun. And people want to hate this and that. At the end of the day, she did what she needed to do. She got that triple-double. So I don't care. I don't care. Like, that was an amazing achievement for Angel Reese to have. And so I think that she's just awesome with that. I love her mentality. Somebody else who really has the heart of a champion as well. Somebody who is a leader. And she's just an awesome player. I just really enjoy watching her and her energy. And a lot of people hated on her whenever it was convenient. Whenever at the beginning of the season it wasn't her best. But after that second New York Liberty game, she said F we ball. And really went on a run. And they misused her in the beginning of the season, limiting her to being an offensive rebounder and a screener only, which I thought was egregious. To be frank, I think Tyler Marsh is a terrible coach. I can't emphasize that enough. But Angel goes out there, she produces. Whenever she doesn't play, the team gets blown out. And I forgot, but I do have this of Angel when she made her first All-Star. But I'm just such a huge Angel Reese fan. Like, she's just such an awesome player. And one of the reasons why I watched the game and why I'm here right now, okay? Thoughts on the roster outside of her. I think Courtney Vandersloot not moving me. When she come back, it's still not going to move me. And then some thoughts on the other players in the team. Rachel Banham kind of reminds me like Arike. I don't know. She just takes a whole lot of shots. Sometimes she can make them. Notably from three. She's mainly a three-point shooter. She can't facilitate. Rachel Banham don't move me. Ariel Atkins was decent, but just didn't fulfill the role and everything that you would hope for giving up the third overall pick. That could have been Sonia. So there's that. I don't appreciate what she said about Angel either. Beck Allen, we all wanted her in the starting lineup, and whenever she got there, it was bad. I remember her lighting up Dallas, so there's that. I forgot to say Dallas team defense was terrible. I don't know how I forgot that. And then we had Maddie Westbeld. She had that one good game, but I didn't see that game. I think Camilla reminds me of John Cole Jones, which I will get there. But basically, it's like she can be really great when she gives her all, but she just doesn't do that often. I don't know if it's a situation thing. I don't know why that is, but she can be the player of the game when she wants to. She can be one of the best centers in the W when she wants to be. So, yeah, I think that's what frustrates me about Camilla. To be honest with you. Y'all know I love Angel Down, obviously. E-Will can be decent. Haley Van Lith, I think that the ball pressure really bothers her, and that's something that she has to work on and getting an outside shot, because it's a lot of driving, and she's got blocked at the rim multiple times, so I think that she's really struggling with her transition into the W. I'm trying to give her grace. It just hasn't been pretty. Okay, and then I'm trying to think of other... I think that's Michaela. She was better the first season that I watched last year. Mariah Jefferson, it wasn't great. And then Kia Nurse is just terrible. I'm sorry. That's like one of the worst players in the W I've seen and everything. And I heard she used to be better than she is now. But yeah, that's kind of my takeaways there. I realized I had so many thoughts about the Chicago Sky that I completely forgot to share. And I should have wrote more notes on these teams. But yeah, basically this team was just a dumpster fire to watch. And Angel literally was basically like, we need to get better players type situation and everything. And that she wants to win. But, the situation is not right. That's basically what she said. She didn't throw anyone under the bus by name, but yeah, they were all offended by that. Her getting suspended for half of a game was BS and everything. I don't know. I really hope that Angel comes over to Dallas Wings, because I forgot to talk about her rebounding, but that's something that she's also known for as well. But I would just love to see her come play in Dallas. And literally the only reason that I watched this guy, okay, that first game against the New York Liberty was demoralizing. That game against Phoenix, whenever Tyler threw in the towel and just completely gave up. This is just a terrible roster, and Angel is doing a generational carry job and doing everything that she can, but it's just not a roster that's built to win at all. And I forgot that I said this, but they're very much like the Miami Dolphins of the WNBA. They're just there to get a check, don't really care about winning and everything, and just not a whole lot of accountability and everything. And the GM, Jeff, is terrible, and he literally repeated the stuff that Angel said, basically about how the roster is not good and everything and all that, but he literally threw her under the bus whenever she said that, and the teammates and everything. It's just no real accountability, no real leadership outside of Angel. And it's genuinely so hard to watch these Chicago Sky games. Like last year and this year, it's tough. And like I said, she's the only reason that I tune in. So hopefully she goes to another team, because that's the only thing holding me down. Like the roster construction, the way that the games are played, every single time that she's out, the other team goes on a run. Like, and they're not going to get free agents there. The culture, the facility's not getting built. Terrible at drafting. So many problems with Chicago. So many problems. Every time I think about how bad it was for Dallas last year, and trust me, it was very miserable, it was literally worse with Chicago. Like right when you think it can't get worse. Like Dallas has way more promise. They're going to do a lot of things better this upcoming season. If Kurt doesn't, he knows that he's getting fired. But Chicago, just, it's really tough watch. Let me talk about the New York Liberty next, okay? So Sabrina, my take on Sabrina is I like Sabrina. I think that she's really streaky though. That's the thing, okay? Because she can have a game where she gives you 30 points and then she'll have a game where she gives you 6 points, okay? I heard she had a game where she went 1 of 19. I mean, that's just ridiculous, okay? So I've seen Sabrina light it up, and there was a period I was like, oh, she should be first team LW. And I saw her put up 30 something against Connecticut. And then after that, she fell off and everything. And so that was frustrating. And that last playoff game, she gave her all, had nothing to give in the fourth quarter because of Sandy. Okay, so it's really Sandy's fault for not getting her rest adequately. But she can run the floor and everything and play the point guard position. She mainly plays as a shooting guard for the team. Defense is terrible, okay, for sure. But yeah, I like Sabrina. She seems like a great person. I have a pair of the Sabrina 3, so for the most part, I like Sabrina. We talk about Stewie, like I kind of talked about earlier. Love Stewie because of the UConn connection partially. But also, she's a great player, a 3-level scorer and everything. She can facilitate when need be. Excellent defender. I mean, Stewie's resume is absolutely ridiculous. And one of my mutuals on Twitter says this, but she really does not get the respect that she deserves for how excellent that she's been for how long and everything. And she dealt with some injuries and everything last season. As we know, she said that this is her first season where she's been healthy. And I told my friends, I said, you see how this is her first season healthy when Sandy got fired? That's really telling. Because I heard that the 23 season, they worked Stewie into the ground basically and everything. So yeah, and I will say that making fun of people's injuries, I think, is tasteless, you know, and people have done that for Stewie, and I just, like, Stewie's resume, like, it's such a insane resume, like I already said, and I don't know, like, she's just such a great player, and I really enjoy watching her play the game. Heart of a champion, she's just an awesome player, so I really do love Stewie, okay? I have a soft spot for sure. Kennedy Burke, I don't really have much thoughts. I always get her and somebody else on this team mixed up, so I don't have much thoughts. Natasha Cloud, I kind of went over my thoughts. Last season, she was disappointing, basically. Marquisha Davis, I don't think she played a whole lot. I don't really have thoughts. Leonie Fevich, I believe she was hurt last season, so I'm going to give her some grace. Okay. Gardner, that's the one who I always mix Kennedy Burke up with. I just always mix them up for some reason. That's on me. Isabel Harrison, I think that in Chicago, terrible, okay? And so that's what I didn't like. And then I think that in New York, she's been a good piece off the bench. Should have time in the playoffs. And then we go to Marine. Marine is mainly like a 3-point shooter, and, you know, that's her specialty. Anything else, and it's probably going to be inconsistent. And then the defense is terrible. She cannot facilitate. She turns the ball over, okay? So there we go there. Jonquel, like I said, Jonquel is somebody who frustrates me because that was that one game, and it was against the Valkyries, I believe, right? And so she literally fell over herself because she did not want to have to get into the post. And ever since that day, that's the one that frustrated me the most with Jonquel. But Jonquel's like Camilla in the fact that she can be great when she really tries. When she went up against Chicago, she hit 5 threes over Camilla head. And then what happened? Another game, so she doesn't really try, like, not getting in the paint enough and everything. And I know she was hurt, and I'm trying to give her grace for that and everything. But at the end of the day, she's, what, 6'5", 6'6", you a post player, you're going to have to get in the paint. You know what I'm saying? So it's frustrating with that. And then in the playoff game, I was just thinking this when she was, what, 1 of 10 from the field because she was too busy taking threes instead of getting in the fucking post. So that's why Jonquel Jones irritate me, because she can be great when she wants to be. And then there's times where I see her being lazy, not giving enough effort and getting rebounds and getting in the post. Okay, so that's why she frustrates me. That is why she frustrates me, because I've seen what she can do, okay? And that one game where she fell over herself instead of getting in the post, like, that's what really irritated me, okay? So that's how I feel about Jonquel. Niara Sable, I don't really have much thoughts because she didn't get to play a whole lot. In that one game Sandy was talking about, she had the jersey on so she could feel the vibe of it, basically. That was dumb. Either play her in the game or don't. But having someone wear a jersey for a game they're not going to play, I think is ridiculously stupid, okay? Jalen Sherrod didn't play a whole lot. She got traded to the Lynx, so that's kind of some of my takeaways there. Emma, I forgot to talk about her. I thought she did some good stuff, but as the season went on, you didn't really hear much from her, okay? Sandy, as a coach, she's been fired now. Now she will be coaching with Arike at Toronto Temple, as we know. But it was like she just did not have a feel for the game in terms of her rotations. Like, she had such bad rotations, games where she played Jonquel way too many minutes when she wasn't giving you anything, and she was not using her bench in the playoffs at all, okay? And like I was talking about earlier, Sabrina had nothing to give in the fourth quarter of that game against the Phoenix Mercury because she played Sabrina the whole game. And Sabrina was dog tired. Stewie was playing on a sprain MCL, and she still had 30 points and everything. And she wasn't seeing what Izzy could give her off the bench, Marine could give her off the bench. Like, just try something, try something. And so, yeah, I think that that's what led to the downfall and everything, okay? And that's why Sandy frustrates me, okay? It's just, Sandy's not that good of a coach. Sandy's not that good of a coach. And the GM basically said, we wanted to fire her after we won the chip, but you can't do that after coach won the chip and everything. It wasn't working out. And I appreciate the GM for basically validating all the fans' feelings and everything like that. People saying that Sandy shouldn't have been fired. I was watching the New York Liberty at the end, and I was frustrated, and I'm not even a New York Liberty fan. So imagine how the fan base actually feels. So I did catch up with a fair amount of games with them this past year. And I will say that game against LA, the one when Rakia threw the ball up and she hit that little moment at the end and everything, that was so That was one of the best games this year. So that's my takeaways on the Liberty at this rate, okay? And now I'm going to talk about the LA Sparks next, okay? I just changed my mind in real time. Okay, so the players on the LA Sparks, you got Kelsey Plum. Okay, so Kelsey Plum, like I said earlier, I like Kelsey Plum. This past season, she was a free throw merchant, which I did not appreciate, okay? But generally, when the ball going through the hoop, she's fun to watch. As I stated, bad defense. She can facilitate. She mainly plays the 2 for them, but she can be a point guard if need be, okay? You see that connection with AB and Unrivaled right now. So I do like Kelsey Plum a whole lot. She's one of my favorite players to watch when she's on. And then you had Julia Alamon. Julia Alamon can facilitate well, not a great scorer to basketball at this rate. When you a point guard at this rate, being able to just facilitate is not enough. You have to be able to score these days. You know, in the old days, it used to be different, but now in this era, you have to be a threat and you have to have gravity, okay? And so I think she just can't score the basketball enough. I think that that's her problem. Defensively, she can have some good moments here or there, but I don't know. I think that they should move on from Julia Alamon personally, okay? And I think that every starter should be giving you at least 10 points, and I don't feel like that's too much to ask for, but people keep telling me that it is, but I don't care. And then we had Rakia. Like I said, I like Rakia a lot. She can score in a variety of ways. Defense is not it, and that's something that she has to work on. She has the mid-range, which the LA coach took away for some reason, which frustrated me, okay? But I do like Rakia a whole lot for the most part, but still improvements to be made. I like Cam a lot, kind of like I was talking about. I think staying out of foul trouble, that's the problem. Being more of a threat, I guess, on offense is something she has to work on. We know she suffered that torn ACL, and she's kind of like working her way back, but I think that those are the 2 things that she has to work on, but I think that she's been a good player for them overall. And I already talked about Hamby, but I do like Hamby a lot, basically. Can score in a variety of ways, mainly going to get at the rim and just, you know, kind of do her moment there. Defense could use some work. Azare, I believe I talked about her, but Azare's decent. You know, she can score. The defense, it could use some work. I'm not going to lie. The defense for the Sparks was the problem, you know. And that's what it boils down to, because when you score 86 points a game, 84 or 86 points a game, and then you give up, you know, 87 or whatever it is that they gave up, you're not going to win games. And the team defense was a problem. Every single game they got cooked on defense. And I don't know why Lynn Roberts is staying another year, because you need a coach that's going to help them with the defense. Like, that was some of the worst defense that I've seen from the Sparks. And they're like the best offensive team to not make the playoffs or something with the amount of points per game and stuff that they were averaging. And so Lynn Roberts, I don't think can coach, because it's about, you know, taking away the mid-range shot. And as a Paige fan, I love the mid-range shot. It has to stay, okay? And taking that away from Rakia, I won't forgive her for those things. And the team defense, I thought, was lackluster. Sarah Ashley Barker, I think, can be a demon. You know, she's giving you some good minutes off the bench. Already gave my thoughts on Ray Burrell earlier and everything. 6'2", playing like she's 5'8". So I think that those were some of your main contributors off the bench. I don't remember seeing a whole lot of Sanaya Fagan. Peely went over to the Sparks. I don't think she played for them a whole lot. So I think that those are like the main contributors for the Sparks and everything at this rate. I don't think that I forgot anybody. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to move on from the LA Sparks section, but fire the coach. That's kind of the point. And then let me go on to the Indiana Fever, okay? So now it's finally time for me to talk about why I do not like Caitlin Clark, why I'm not a Caitlin Clark fan. I mentioned in my first episode basically that I would get to this and that I used to be a fan and everything. So when I started watching the game, you know, like I said, it was that game against LSU. So that's when I started watching, and I kind of watched through, followed her the first season in the W and such, okay? I think one of the top reasons why I don't like Caitlin Clark is her fans and everything. Her fans act like she invented the game of women's basketball. Nobody ever took a 3 before Caitlin Clark. Nobody ever had an assist before Caitlin Clark, according to them. And a lot of them are just like racist and homophobic. And as a Paige fan, you see them saying a lot of homophobic stuff towards Paige, making fun of her injuries and stuff, which is disgusting. I'm an Angel fan, and so you see them being really racist towards Angel and everything. Every time I did an Angel review, here come the Caitlin Clark fans in the comments. So I think our fans are just really nasty and they don't know about basketball. You have a conversation with Caitlin Clark fans, then they just negate everything that you can see with your own two eyes and everything. So I think the fan base is just really, really, really nasty, especially, and just racist and homophobic and all those other things. So I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. And she definitely has a part in her fan base. Okay. I made a video here, I think it was before the WNBA season, talking about things that I was excited for. And I said that I would tune in for her and everything, and that I don't like her fans. Like, she's part of the reason why she has the fan base that she does and that she cultivated and everything. And people say, oh, she stood up for Angel, da da da. Like, whenever she pushed Angel that first game in the season, that's when I was done. You know, I was trying to do that neutrality, being a fan of both, but it just gets to a point. It just gets to a point. So that, and then, you know, her dodging the smoke from that, I did not appreciate it. If you're going to push her, at least own up to it and be like, yeah, I pushed her, and so what about it? But she's just a fake demon with that. She's a fake demon with that. There's a situation with JC Sheldon in the season as well. The yelling at the refs and everything. She should have had a lot more text, and just her attitude and everything. When the ball doesn't go her way and her body language, all that stuff, I wasn't a fan of it and everything. She's a turnover machine, led the league in turnovers her first year, okay? And so, like, that, it's just, you have to take better care of the basketball. She played 13 games this year, and she had 60-something turnovers. And that's just ridiculous to me. And that's just something ridiculous to me. Like, how do you have that many turnovers in 13 games played? So that's something that you have to state. And I'm looking right now, her turnovers that she had in the first year. She had 223 total turnovers. She shattered the record. And people want to blame the teammates for the turnovers and everything, but at the end of the day, like, there's so many turnovers that she has that are unforced because she makes bad passes and everything, okay? So that's something to state. That is something to state. And people not talking about that enough. People not talking about that enough. And so I have to bring that to the forefront, because they always want to blame the teammates when she had a game with 10 turnovers this past year. And you're telling me every single one of those turnovers was her teammates' fault. I don't buy that. She's more so like a one-trick pony of what she can do. It's mainly the threes. She'll drive occasionally. She doesn't have a mid-range shot. She doesn't have a floater as well. Whenever you force her right, she really struggles with that. She's a defensive liability. I don't care what any of her fans say. It's in. I've seen it with my own eyes. She's a defensive liability and everything. And it's just, whenever the game's not going her way, she'll turn over the basketball. She'll make some bad decisions. Whenever you consistently pressure her on defense, she just gives up and she crumbles every single time, okay? So yeah, I think that there's things that she can do well. You can't take away her production and what she's done and how many points per game that she's giving you. Her assist game is good when she's not turning the basketball over as well and everything. She can be exciting to watch. Like, she has things that she can do well objectively, but basically because of, you know, analysis of the game as I've learned more and as I've grown more that I've seen, and the way that her fans are and everything, the way that she herself is and some of the stuff that she's said and done whenever you're not defending your teammates from racism, I do have a problem with that. So push came to shove, I was like, yeah, I'm done with Caitlin Clark. I'm done with Caitlin Clark. And her fans always be having something to say. That's why every time I get on live, I have a segment. Because it's just always them. Like, they just the weirdest. So, bro, she don't be efficient either, too. Like, it's just, you watch Paige and you go back. I don't know how people say, like, I don't. Like, her fans, like, and you lose I forgot to say this, too. She literally lost 2 national championships. And then she got interviewed about it, talking about we're the best second place team of all time. Okay, I'm sorry. Anybody with the heart of a champion is not celebrating getting second place. I'm sorry. That should piss you off. That should be a motivator. So that is well, like, just her mentality is not right. She doesn't have the heart of a champion. Okay? And her fans make excuses for her and everything, but when it counts, she hasn't came through enough in those big moments. And yes, it's a team sport and all those other things, but that South Carolina game, when they were down 12, I believe, with 5 minutes left, that's a very winnable game, and she folded under that pressure. Like there's no tomorrow, okay? A turnover machine. And so, if I have any more reasons, I'll add, but that's the main reason why Caitlin don't move me up the street, okay? Like, her fans be weird. And this is something that I've been thinking for the longest, but I feel like Caitlin Clark is a Josh Allen of the WNBA, okay? If you watch the NFL a little bit, you know one thing, that Josh Allen just never seems to get it done when it matters most, always losing to Patrick Mahomes. He just had a choke artist-like performance against the Broncos when he had 4 turnovers in that game as well, but every time they win, you know, it's because of him. Every time they lose, you know, it's not his fault and everything, and they just make a lot of excuses for him, and he's basically overrated, and just the PR is like generational and everything. And I feel the same way about Caitlin Clark, like literally in just everything. Like, if you actually watch the games, like, they both turnover machines. So people don't be talking about this, but there's just so many parallels. Okay? And I feel like that's something that we should talk about more, because like her fans and what they actually be saying and then what you see in the games and everything. And like I said, she's a good player objectively, but I can't help but draw this parallel. And then Aaliyah Boston, like I said, the elbows. She plays dirty watching those Dallas games. in real time and everything, and just like using the elbow. She doesn't have to do all that. She's actually a good player, but that is why I don't like Aaliyah Boston. And whenever you say that she plays dirty, everyone wants to try to gaslight you. I've seen it with my own eyes what she's doing to people, and I don't like that. There's no place for that in the game of basketball. And when Lee used her own move on her, she was upset about that, but I do not care. I do not care. Like, Lee ate. I already said I like Kelsey Mitchell. She's a great scorer of the basketball. We know that. Not much of a contributor in terms of assists or rebounds or defense per se. Not, her thing. She can score the basketball. I like Kelsey Mitchell for the most part, okay? Other people on the team, Lexi Holt, I said this before, but it's supposed to be 3-and-D, and the threes aren't falling, and the defense is not hitting. It's not moving me. So Lexi Holt do not move me for the most part, okay? I remember that first season of Unrivaled. Sophie Cunningham talking about the enforcer, and the enforcing is putting your hands around people's necks and everything and choking people out and just playing dirty. She's an extremely dirty player. I do not like Sophie Cunningham, and she needs to stop talking about Paige. Like, she just wants the clout so bad. She wants the clout so bad, okay? So those are some takeaways there. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I really have any strong thoughts on in the Fever. I think that those are the main ones. Those are the main ones that everyone talks about in the Fever that are the main contributors. Stephanie White, she irritates me. She irritates me. Like, there's moments where she says stuff I agree with and moments of stuff where I disagree with. When she said AB is the worst officiated post player in the league, where if it was a just place to league, then AB would foul out of every single game because of the fouls that she commits, but that they don't call. And she was doing that in college too. So yeah, like the Fever, they're just so MAGA coded. They're so MAGA coded. So I will say that. I do have to get this out of the way because I think I mentioned in the first episode that I'm a Chiefs fan. With that, it's really kind of an internal struggle. I like them on the field. Off the field, I don't like them at all, and I'm not hesitant to call out them for being cowards and not speaking up in ways that they should have and everything like that. Like, I like Mahomes as a player. Off the field, I don't like the man. So I hold them accountable. I keep it in check and everything. I get how that can be confusing with what I just said about the Fever and everything. But yeah, at a certain rate, I don't watch the Fever unless I have to, unless they play my team. That's the only time I watch them. I'm done with them at this rate. So that's my thoughts on the Fever right now and their fan base. Their fan base is disgusting, okay? Atlanta Dream, I think that Ryan, like I said, great 3-and-D player. She can be streaky. Alicia Gray, I think she's a great player, okay? Bree Jones, great player. She kind of flopped in that one game against us a little bit. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, I admit. Maya Caldwell, same thing. BG, already said, probably inching towards retirement, but will be one of the best players at her position. When it's said and done, Coffee, don't have much to say. Theory, Jordan Canada, and Unrivaled, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. And a lot of people say she's the problem behind Atlanta. Every time I talk about Atlanta, people always point the finger at her. So she got to look into that. I think Tahina Papal has been decent for them right now. And Naz Hillman, she's alright. I don't really have much against her. And then looking at Connecticut Sun, Marina Mabry, shot chucker, which I kind of already told y'all, but she can be decent at times. I will say the defense, let's be for real, she's a crash out. She's a generational crash out for sure. JC Sheldon, I don't really have much thoughts. Olivia Nelson-Adota, in the league this last year, she's had moments where she looks good, but man, I know her from the UConn stuff mostly, okay? That free throw line jumper, that was not going in. Every time those bigs took those at UConn, 9 times out of 10, they weren't going in, no shit. Could have some good moments on defense, but not that much of a needle mover to me. I wouldn't say she's bad per se, I would say she's just okay. Bria Hartley, when she pulled Angel's hair and then tried to blame her son, I'm not moved. I don't claim her as part of UConn FC. Lindsay Allen, terrible with the sky, and she's not moving me on this team either. Sanaya Rivers, like I said, really 3-and-D, generational defensively. The shot, it's decent. She's working on it. It'll come more, but she should have started more games. I'm sorry. I don't know why she wasn't starting. I don't know why he kept playing with her minutes. I don't think that the Connecticut Sun coach, received Messi on. I don't think he can coach for the record, but I do like Sanaya. Anissa Mora, I think that she's decent. Still room to grow. I think the shot diet is terrible. She has to work on that, but she gets double-doubles. So I can give her credit for that at the very least, for sure. We have Tina Charles. I like Tina Charles. She went to UConn. And what is it called? Great player. Probably toward the end, but she's still giving you great production. I would like to see her with us at Dallas. Lacan, I think she's a great player for them, and the future is extremely bright for Lacan and this young core that they got. And so, yeah, they should fire the coach. They're going to have a few more years until they're a contender. We'll see if Marina stays and everything. They've had some good moments over at the Connecticut Sun. Okay, I still remember Tyler's crash out in that one game and everything when I forgot to talk about Aaliyah Edwards because she was added on. Aaliyah Edwards, I think that she's a decent player. I think in Unrivaled you're seeing some good stuff, and she's mainly somebody who's like back to the basket, finishes at the rim. I think she has to stay out of foul trouble because in pretty much every single game I've seen her playing, she gets in foul trouble. So I think she has to be better about that because that's such a huge thing. How are you going to make an impact on the game if you can't even be in the game? So I think that that's part of it for Aaliyah Edwards as well at this rate for sure. And then also, what is it called? Defense, you got to play defense without fouling. I don't know why she hasn't learned that, but that's something that's frustrating. The Washington Mystics, Sonia Citron, great 3-and-D player. Don't know why people try to say that she's a shooting guard. The Caitlin fans try to co-opt her to hate against Paige, okay? So there's that. I didn't like that, but I don't really have any beef with Sonia as a player per se, okay? And yeah, I'll give Sonia that for sure, but for the most part, I don't really have anything against her, okay? Brittany Sykes, she went over to Seattle, but basically she really is a free throw merchant at this rate. I think she's been good on Unrivaled. She hasn't got a whole lot of free throws, ironically enough, but she can score all over the place. She's a good defender as well, but yeah, I think it's just the flopping and being a free throw merchant that irritates me. Kiki, I believe I talked about her, but I think Kiki's first year, you know, she has some moments where it was good. She has some moments where it wasn't good, but you saw a lot of growth with her. She has a mid-range shot that she can do. She can finish at the rim. She can play some good defense too. So, I mean, I think she's a good player. Georgia Amore was out with the ACL, so I can't really speak on her as well. And Shakira Austin in the games that I've seen isn't moving me, but that's just my opinion. Steph Dolson, let's get that retirement at this rate. No disrespect. And yeah, I think that's kind of my thoughts on the Mystics at this rate. Some people think the coach should be fired. I don't really watch the Mystics, so I couldn't tell you that. I will say that their home whistle was egregious, okay? So I didn't like that, okay? And then we go into the Valkyries. So before I even get into my thoughts on the Valkyries, I do want to say I have beef with them because, like I said, of that Paige game, when Paige, her only single figure game and how they played her, and they got away with a lot. So I do have beef with them going forward. Like, I'm not really going to be rooting for them, and it don't really move me that much anyways. Veronica Byrne, like I said, she can play that point guard role. She can facilitate. She can score. She takes hard shots for no reason. She can be good on defense. Kate Martin, she really loves to kind of be that 3-and-D role. Defense could use some work. The threes, let's knock down them more, because there was one game she was 5 of 16 from the field, my sister's birthday, and they gave her 2 threes in the clutch and missed them both. Like, you have Kate Martin first option hoops, you're not winning, okay? I don't have much against her. I think there's just work that has to be done, and the PR kind of be crazy, no shade. Tip Hayes, I like what I've seen from her in Unrivaled. I haven't watched her play a whole lot in the W outside of my teams for the most part. Fag Benley, I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on her, to be honest. I know she played for the Fever previously. Carla Late is decent from what I've seen. You know, she's still raw, still things to learn. Kayla Thornton, I haven't really developed an opinion on her, so I can't really speak on her, but I hear only good things. And then Talbot, was this an old roster or something? I don't know, but Talbot is not good, so let's just get that out of the way. Salon, I thought Salon was a shooting guard, but apparently she's a forward, so things that we learned, but yeah, she's decent. I don't really have much against her. Xander Lucini and then Monique Billings, like I said, she's been good and Unrivaled, and I don't have thoughts on the other players, okay? Now we go on to the aces, okay? And the funny thing is, I literally said this was going to be a shorter episode, and this is going to be such a long edit, but so let's start off with A'ja Wilson first, because she's the player that ultimately is going to make the Las Vegas Aces go. A'ja Wilson is a phenomenal player. You know, let's just get that out. And so she's someone who can be a 3-level scorer, okay? A lot of her game is kind of in that, like, mid-range elbow area, finishing at the basket, but she can hit some threes. She can hit some threes for sure. Elite defender as well. I believe she's 6'4". She plays that power forward or that center role, and she is somebody who's going to be your number 1 option on the team, somebody who has the heart of a champion. After that 53-point loss to the Lynx, she said, if you're not embarrassed, don't come to the gym. So somebody who has real leadership, someone who is an excellent player. And so yeah, she's a great player, so I don't really have anything against her per se. I think that her fans are weird in the stuff that they be saying about Fee and everything, and her fans. I don't like her fans. But her as a player, I mean, what knock can you have on A'ja Wilson at this point? She's done it all. Multiple championships, just got her 4th MVP, which I felt like was deserved and everything. I remember watching the Aces last season and seeing her go off, 26 points a game, and that MVP was deserved as well. The finals MVPs, Olympics, I mean, she's really done it all. She's only going to get better. She'll be one of the best W players of all time by the time that it's all said and done. Okay, so that's A'ja Wilson. So we have that, okay? I forgot to say this, that white t-shirt thing, I don't love that. Because she was kind of overusing it. But as a player, you can't really have any knocks on A'ja Wilson. Jewel Lloyd last season did not move me. It's probably closer to retirement, no shade at this rate, okay? Aaliyah Nye, I don't really have any thoughts on her. Chelsea Gray, I kind of talked about this earlier, but Chelsea Gray is great at facilitating, getting your teammates involved. She can make some insane passes, and sometimes she makes dumb passes that she doesn't need to make. But she can do that. She can score the basketball, you know, and do what she needs to do there, having some good defensive moments to you. So Unrivaled was really where I got my appreciation for Chelsea Gray, but I do like Chelsea Gray a lot. Dana Evans for the Chicago Sky, I will never forget the terrible contributions that she made. So yeah, I think she's been good off the bench, but everyone talking about we owe Dana Evans an apology when she was not doing good things for the Chicago Sky as a starter. We're not giving that apology. Bradford, I don't have any thoughts. Tiffany Mitchell, I don't have any thoughts. Kirsten Bell is not good. Like, we all knew that. Jackie Young, I am fond of Jackie Young. I think I might have said this in my last episode, but somebody who can score in a variety of ways. Again, she can defend, and she's very, very, very underrated, okay? She can play the point guard role, she can play the 2 role, and that's what she does for the Aces, and she just does what's needed. She's called the silent assassin, and she's a really good player. You know, people don't give her the respect that she deserves, but she definitely had a huge part in that championship for sure. And you just see what she was able to do. That one tip shot that she had off of the rebound and everything, that was huge to get that win over Seattle. So Jackie Young, I feel like, continually does not get the press and everything that she deserves, and she probably likes her that way in a sense and everything, but I'm very fond of Jackie Young personally. So yeah, Kia Stokes is not good. Liz Kitley, I believe, was cut. Cheyenne Parker Dice, I don't have any thoughts. So there's that. I think the Aces home whistle is egregious, which is why I don't enjoy to watch them. That game that we had against them in the beginning of the season, I still do have PTSD from that moment, because their whistle's ridiculous, okay? And a lot of their fans are Gamecock fans, South Carolina FC. South Carolina and UConn FC, we have that clashing because of some of the stuff they be saying about our players I don't appreciate. So we have those things, and yeah, the fan base be annoying me. They have some extremely talented players. Becky Hammond is evil. With that entire situation with Dearica Hamby and the pregnancy thing. If you don't know it, please look it up, you know, in your own time. But with that situation and everything and just the way she moves, I don't like. Objectively, she's a great coach, but that's some of my takeaways on the Aces at this point in time, okay? Now we go into the Phoenix Mercury, okay? So first off, Kalia Copper, talked about this earlier, but can score in a variety of ways, can be that shooting guard or that 3-and-D player, and can defend. And she's someone who's tough, who will take it to the cup, and she's an awesome player. So I love Kalia Copper. In my opinion, she is the best player for the Phoenix Mercury, okay? Satu Sabli, I have dubbed the Satu Sabli special, okay, if y'all follow me on Twitter, okay, but we do have that, but I think off the court, she's fun, okay, that revenge dress she wore against Dallas, I thought that was hilarious, so I will go over that. It was unfortunate to see her go out with that concussion and everything, so I'm wishing her the best with her recovery. I'm remembering when she went 2 of 17, that's one of the worst player performances that you'll ever see. She did come back from that though, and she did start to play better, and she was a huge thing for the Mercury, and you know, had she not went out, I think that they probably could have won at least one game in that series versus the Aces. But you know, I like her off the court. On the court, she's kind of streaky, you know, and so that's kind of my takeaways on Satu at this rate. And I already previewed why I don't like AT. But in game 2, that whole situation with Fee, people will say, oh, it's a clean steal, sure. But she didn't have to run into Fee. And now Fee had to have surgery because of that. And now Fee's out of Unrivaled because of that, and she's going to miss part of next season. And so I just didn't like that. I think ATB playing dirty. And I don't like those things. Okay? And so, yeah, like another loss in the finals. So after that day, that's when I started hating. And I said, I will never give AT a 10 again. So that's why I just say her stat lines and everything, and then I move on, because that, like, it hurt me. Like, there was no reason to do that to Fee, okay? Shout out to Sammy Whitcomb. And so we have those things. I'm trying to think about anybody else. Natasha Mack, I don't really have any thoughts on her. I don't know. I wasn't that moved. Kalani Brown didn't really play a whole lot. DeWanna Bonner, she had games where she was good and she had games where she was bad. Nate Tibbetts is one of those coaches that like lives and dies by the 3, which I don't appreciate, okay? And I forgot to say this. I forgot to talk about the coaches for the Atlanta Dream and also for Golden State Valkyries. Nally Nakase can coach, Carlson Mesco can coach, sure, but they are just the 3 or die, and I just don't appreciate that when you eliminate the mid-range jump shot. And that one game that they played against each other, one of the worst games I saw in the season, okay? So I just don't like that coaching philosophy. Nate Tibbetts is a similar way, so I don't love that philosophy. Okay? Mercury, I'm not really that big on them as a team. Kalia Copper, my favorite player. And then I think the last team I have to talk about today is going to be the Seattle Storm, okay? So let's start off with Nneka Ogwumike, 50% from the field every single season that she's played. So shout out to Nneka Ogwumike just for her consistency, and Nneka Ogwumike is an amazing player. Can score from a variety of ways, can defend, so I do have a soft spot for Nneka personally. Skylar, another guard that went to Notre Dame. I think I said this in my last podcast, but one of my friends was telling me, you just know who went to Notre Dame based off the shot selection and all those other things. So Skylar is streaky, okay? She has games where she looks great, and she has games where it's just bad. She can facilitate the offense for you, can have a few good moments on defense and everything. She really wants to win and everything. Hasn't culminated in a championship for her and everything, but I don't know. I don't really have anything against Skylar per se. I like her fashion and stuff off the court. That one with the milk bags was crazy though, but yeah, that's kind of my takeaways on Skylar at this point. Erica Willer, she was definitely dynamic for them and, you know, brought a lot of joy to them. I remember watching a Fever game. This was the 2024 season when they got her the pass, I think, in transition, and she could have made an easy layup. She dribbled it back up for some reason. She was wide open, so that was irritating to me as well. I already talked about Brittany Sykes being a free throw merchant for the most part, but she's been getting rivaled. I believe Katie Lou tore her ACL, so there's not much to report on that as well. I think the same thing happened to Horston, so there's not much to talk about with her either. Gabby Williams, this is my time to talk about Gabby Williams. So her fans did a great job at like doing PR and being like, oh, you should check out her games and stuff and her highlights. So I did, and I do like Gabby Williams. She's 3-and-D again, and she had 99 steals this last year, and so just incredible with what she's able to do there offensively. Probably like a third or fourth scoring option. She'll probably give you like 12 points a game. She plays a role, and yeah, I like Gabby Williams a lot. I like Gabby Williams a lot for the record, and I definitely voted her for All-Star. So I was happy that she made it in for sure. And then Ezzy, like I said, defensively, mainly. Offensively, would like to see more points and make more of the free throws. Dom, very raw at this rate and everything. Still more things to learn. You can see her upside in some of the stuff in Unrivaled. Limiting the turnovers, getting better on defense and everything. In certain matchups, it's difficult for her, but yeah. I already said Noelle Quinn can't coach, and she was fired, so I was, I guess vindicated in that in some fashion. But I'm pretty sure that's my thoughts on pretty much every single WNBA team. And so I'm trying to just look up and make sure that I didn't forget any player that like I really wanted to talk about, or any team, and just checking everything off the list. But yeah, I think that's my thoughts on every team. I think that's my thoughts on every single team for the WNBA, okay? So now you guys know where I stand on, a lot of the key players that everybody likes to talk about and all that stuff. So that's kind of some of my thoughts for the WNBA at this rate. Overall takeaways on the season, I think that officiating needs to get better. That playoff series that I referenced with the Mercury and the Lynx, I don't ever want to see that happen again. When you let players play that physical, that is how people got hurt, okay? And so that is just something that frustrated me. That's something that has to be improved on and everything. And so love to see Paige play the game. Obviously, that was a given. I think that the back-to-backs need to be eliminated for sure with the W, because you can see the strain that it puts on players, and having that many games in such a small span as well. Obviously, the CBA has to be negotiated, but all these higher-ups playing hardball with the players, not wanting to give them the money that they rightfully deserve, is irritating me. Anybody who is siding with them and Kathy over the actual players irritates me. Kathy, I think, is really cold. She doesn't have that emotional capacity and everything. She says a lot of stuff that's tone deaf. Kathy, as a commissioner, doesn't move me, so I think that she needs to go as well. All-Star was really fun for the W, and so there was a lot of good moments and stuff that we got. I think next season's going to be a lot better for me because we're getting AZ, so that's going to heal me. We got Jose as a coach, so I'm very much looking forward to that as well. So those are two things that we know we're going to get. Hopefully Angel gets out of Chicago, because it's really rough to watch those games at this rate. Fee, it's going to take her some time to get back, so I don't know. It'll just be exciting to see how the rosters change and the new coaching and all that other stuff, and to see how everything goes. But I definitely enjoyed watching the W yet again. Still some changes to be made with those things that I talked about, with the lighting, with the coaching at times, and just some more consistency that needs to be found in the CBA and all those other things. But excited for the draft. I think that they'll get something figured out before this upcoming season. Like, they want to play hardball, but they have to pay the players. But I don't know. I was just thinking, and I'm so glad that I started this podcast at this point in time, because I've learned so much about the game. I'm still learning new rules. I'm still learning new things. And so to be able to share that with you guys as I've gone along, I'm happy to do that. And I just watched my old videos and now and the growth that I've had. So I'm really enjoying this podcast venture. Putting these together has been a lot of fun for me, and just, a different platform for me to speak in a different medium. So I've really enjoyed putting this episode together. This episode's definitely going to be held to edit like the first one was. It went on longer than I thought. But had so many thoughts to share with you guys. Okay, my hair is eating today. It ate the first time too, and I forgot to say that, but it was eating as well. And so I'm gonna add some new segments, like I said, and change things up and ask you guys for feedback in terms of what you guys want, games to cover and all that stuff. But I'm really trying to fill a lot of different spaces and cover some different games and some teams that I haven't before. But yeah, that's going to be it for episode 2 of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. You guys can give this a thumbs up on YouTube. You can also use the hype feature. Just let YouTube know that you like it. That would help me a lot. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these teams and my analysis of it and all those other things. You can share this video if you would like. Turn on the bell notifications for the channel and subscribe if you would like to see more of this on YouTube. You can rate me on the podcast app as well and everything. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for most of it. Like I said, my socials are down below: Twitter, Instagram, and all those things to follow me. If you're listening on Spotify and everything, and also on YouTube. But thank you guys so much for being here, episode 2, and thank you guys for your support on episode 1. Excited to grow this, excited to be more consistent with it as well. And I will be going live for the UConn game against Notre Dame. If you guys have me on TikTok, Anastasia250_. I don't know why I kept messing up my TikTok display name on my last one, but you guys can check that out as well. I will be doing that and doing some more stuff on TikTok. And also, if I don't get into some of the details and some of the nitty gritty with the stats for here, it's because, as I mentioned, I do reviews in real time for these games and stuff. So sometimes I go into more of the schematics of that, and sometimes this is more of an overarching kind of conversation and an overarching view that I have and everything. And I do have a lot of statistics that I do like to share as well, but that's something that I want to know, and just trying to find ways to adjust this and everything. But I'm happy with how everything's gone so far, excited to do more. But yeah, that's gonna be it. See you guys in episode 3.